Good night, Barbados. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks Show. I'm coming to you live from Barbados. How are you doing tonight? Good night, Caribbean. Good night, the world. It is wonderful, wonderful to see you all here this evening. We have some very important issues to discuss right here in Barbados and issues around the world. So I'm going to ask you guys to, as usual, to like and share. It was a wonderful day today. I'm hoping that you had a lovely day. Tonight, I see It's Me is here. Vernon Garnes is here. Good night, good night, good night. Bonnie Springer, how are you? Judith Jills, it's a wonderful, wonderful day. Oh, I had a beautiful day today in my garden, and I did some research preparing for the show tonight. And so it's been a wonderful day. Trust you had a great day as well. Erwin Nurse, good evening. Jalib Designs, how are you? Nigel Carrington, Ryan Rock, how are you doing tonight? Owen Hines, wonderful. Owen Hines is watching from Philadelphia. It is so great to have you on tonight, Owen. FX Trading BB, how are you doing? Good evening, loyal opposition, sons and daughters. How are we doing? Nat Grant, good evening. Mildred Ben, good evening. Jacqueline Ali, tonight it's all about agitation. It's all about education. Yes. So we're going to do some educating tonight. We're going to learn tonight what we're going to find out, wow, this cyber crime business that's happening, is this the new form of war, cyber war? What is this all about? What's the dark web? What is that? We're going to look at that, and what do hackers do with your um with your data. We know what has happened here in Barbados, and we're going to get into that soon. But tonight is going to be a great night. Rose Corbin is coming on tonight. She's going to talk a lot about education. And Dr. Ferdinand Nichols is joining me tonight as well, Heathcliff. And we're going to have a great show, and we're hoping that you would join us at 9 o'clock, that you would call in. You know the number to call, Jefferson. Good night, Tamika. Sir Alfred, watching all the way from Brooklyn. FX Trading, I welcomed you before, and I know we're going to get into all of that, the hacking that happened. And we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. We know that a government entity, BRA, has been hacked by some international hackers, really. And we're going to delve into that tonight. We've had quite a number of schools that have experienced some sort of violence since the start of this week. So we're going to be looking into that as well. Everton Hunt is up and watching. Hope you feel better, Everton. I'm sure that's the same Everton. Wendy Forth Griffith, good night. Monica Ince, good night. M. Hoyt, how are you? Pauline Maynard, how are you doing? Hope you and the family are doing well. A787, good night. Errol Calendar, good night. Loyal Daughter 66, good night. Teroni Hall, how are you? Yes. Tony Paris, good night. A special good night to everyone. At this time, we're going to go right into our national anthem. And while we get that ready for you, I'm going to kindly ask you to like and to share. To like and share tonight. We have a lot of discussion, a lot to do this evening. So we're going to ask you to like and share, okay? God bless. Yes, 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 people. Yes, people. Yes, people. This is it. This is it. This is why we're on each evening. Firm craftsmen of our faith. We come on here and we are creating our faith. Yes, we are creating our faith. And I want to say to everybody who's joined, if you've just joined and I didn't get to see you, say good night, Emerson Bob. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Listen, folks, this is why we are on. This is why we on. It's all about Barbados. It's always been about Barbados. Now, before we get into the topic for the night, did the government lie? And we are going to use this. You're going to see that this is not just about the data breach. This is not just about the hacking, but we are going to look into some other topics, and you'll recognize the we need to call a lie a lie. Oh my goodness, we are going to look into it, and we're going to see. But before we do that, let's talk about this weekend. We have a very, very busy weekend this weekend. On Sunday, what's happening Sunday? Who knows what's happening Sunday? Let's see if Dave could put up the poster. What is happening Sunday? What is happening Sunday? Who knows what's happening Sunday? And how many of you are going to be there on Sunday? In fact, I just got a little box here, and as soon as Dave puts up the poster, I'm going to run. Yes, Chapman Lynn, Judy Jill. Why did I know that you were going to tell the answer, Judy? But let me just get a little box of that came in today while you read. And can you tell me, show me thumbs up, guys. Let me show me thumbs up. Those of you who are going to actually be at St. Mary's Church at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Let me see thumbs up, please. Thumbs up. I'm seeing only one. Oh, this, Judy and Terone. Only two persons are coming. Good night, good night, Cami. Good night, Cami. Are you going to be there on Sunday? Sunday, it's 3 o'clock, folks. 3 o'clock. We're going to be there. Yes. So who else? Romeo is saying yes. Three of us and myself and Dave five. Oh wow. That's it. Listen, folks, listen, let us not get weary. Monica Hoyt is saying she'll be there. Thank you, Monica. And I want to thank you all for the donations. Already, we have paid some funds to Donna, Donna Quinton, who is cooking a warm meal for the people there. Okay, right, Camilos. I hope you're coming, Camilos, on Sunday. We will have a warm meal for the people who live in that community in Chapman Lane. And so the preparations are on the way for that. They have gone to the supermarket and bought the stuff, so we can be of a blessing and bring that Bajan spirit. It is a Bajan spirit. And so we're asking you also to bring toys and gifts for the children. People called today and said, listen, can I drop off my gifts at Caswell? So you could go to the Unity Workers Union, and you can right there on Fifth Avenue, and you can drop Sixth Avenue, number 5, Sixth Avenue. Dave will correct me if I'm wrong. And you can drop off your donations, those who have sent financial donations, because we have to pay for the truck, we pay for the sound system, we pay the police, all of those things we have to pay for. It's about $2,500 when all is said and done. And now we've added the food, which, it's okay. We will take care of the food for the people in the community. We got some chickens donated. Donna said somebody donated some chickens, so she's gonna. I think she's doing a lovely meal for everybody for in the community, and she's probably gonna serve probably about 100 meals. As the truck is moving along, we'll have a separate truck with something warm for the people in the community. All right. So yeah, so I'm going to ask everybody to come out, and I'm only seeing about 5 persons who are going to come out. Yes, we're praying for Caswell and hoping that he's improving and wishing him well. Sent him a message this evening, not sure if he saw it, but we just want to wish him all the very best, and that he would be well and back with us. And again, I'm asking how many of you are going to join us on Sunday. On Sunday, we're going to once again have the placards with the names. Listen, folks, only because we're saying, well, we didn't hear anybody got killed in the last 2 weeks. Sunday will be 2 weeks. We haven't heard anybody. Nobody got killed. Probably the prayers are working because they haven't put any policies in place, but probably the prayers are working, right? But that doesn't mean we're going to drop our guard, Barbados. We're not going to drop our guard. We're going to go out there with the Bajan spirit. Bring, something to give. This I have in my lap here is a bag of new socks. Look at these. Okay, these are socks that someone brought this at the house. I was here. I heard the horn. I went outside, and a loyal opposition member. This is a Bajan spirit here. So they brought socks. Okay, brought socks so that we can give away. And it's a bag. It has, oh my goodness, this has a lot of socks in there. I'm sure probably about 30 brand new socks, right, that we can give away in the community to children. And, they will use them a lot when, for sports and so on. So that's one less thing and we have some vests as well. Okay, so we have some vests as well. All right, in this bag. Then we also I have a box here, and in this box, somebody's brought. They brought their soybean oil. Okay, we have some condensed milk here. We have some Breeze. This is Breeze. Yes, detergent, right, to wash the clothes. Right, to wash clothes. You have rice. Okay, so this is what people are bringing. Okay, and we have some sweets. Somebody said this separately. All right, for the children. And so when you come on Sunday, we're kindly asking you to bring something. You could just go in your cupboard and bring something, take something out, or you can, as you go to shop, you remember and you bring something. Okay, this is what we're calling the Bajan spirit. When you turn up at somebody's home, even if it's a party, we're taught, you bring something, walk with a drink, walk with a pet bottle, right? Walk with something. And so as we're going into Chapman Lane, what we want to do is to walk with something, right? Walk with something. And I think that's wonderful. Yes, I think that's wonderful. That is wonderful. And so I'm asking everybody who's watching to remember that. Remember that. Let us not get weary in well doing. Sometimes, we're doing good and then we start to shrink back a bit. No, 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 no. Go ahead to the supermarket, because in giving we receive, You might say, I don't have a lot, and so I can't give because I don't have a lot. But you can give from the little bit that you have, right? Even if it's a tin of corned beef. I remember we had the marches, and one child came up, and I think did they give me a dollar something, and it just broke my heart. I just cried. I think it was a dollar something the child gave, and every time children do that, and they just touch your heart because they want to be involved. Okay, so Bajan spirit. That's right, Teroni. The Bajan spirit is a true spirit, and that is what we need. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to ask you, everybody, once again, can I see the thumbs up of those who are going to be there are you going to be there on Sunday? Are you going to be there on Sunday? Sunday, we are going to Chapman's Lane. We also have Praise Academy will be with us at Chapman Lane. And so there is going to be some street theater, dance drama is going to happen right there on the streets. It's going to be exciting. Whenever we're doing anything, we do it with excellence. And we are going into the community, and we just want to go in full of love. Now, don't forget, we're wearing white. All right. What are we wearing? White. We're wearing white. So it's going to be a big event. And we ask everybody, and it's an event about love. It's about showing love. It's about connecting with the community. It's about making people feel humans, like humans, and connecting and loving on people, shaking a hand, hugging somebody. Yeah. So, Clyde Yvonne, are you going to be there? Are you going to be there? Are you coming, Clyde Yvonne? Are you going to come? Are you going to be there? All right. So important. And then on Saturday, there is a water distribution is happening on Saturday, right? 10 o'clock, right there at George Street Auditorium. And I'm going to go down and help Shakwani. She is leading that charge. So I'm going to go down and make sure that I help her with that. And as we we do that water drive for the people in St. Lucie. So people have called me today, and they wanted to know where to drop off the water, where to drop off their bottles. Remember, you can buy the gallon bottles of and then we would fill them out. And I think that it's a wonderful opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity for the children, for children to get involved, right? It's a wonderful opportunity for children to get involved. We're going to bring some of the young men that Dave works with. They're going to be there to help to fill up the bottles. So if you have children, those in first form, second form, they're not doing lessons on a Saturday morning, put them in a car and bring them along and let them help others. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for children to get involved. Okay. It's a wonderful opportunity for children to get involved. So, come out and, come out and let us connect with the people. So we're going to St. Lucie on the Saturday, and we're definitely going to. So it's a day when we're helping people. All right. So Saturday and Sunday is a weekend. It's a weekend where we're helping people, and I want to see your comment, but for some reason, my laptop is not allowing me to see the comments. Okay. And oh yes, I can see it now. Yes, Fabian. Fabian, are you going to be doing anything? That Fabian said that is very good. But Fabian, are you coming out? I spoke to you all guys about being more than people who type on the internet, typing comments and so on. We have to be our brother's keepers, and we have to bring that Bajan spirit. All right. So we have to bring that Bajan spirit. It's us. And we do that. Now, I want to talk to you about, yes, I agree, Tamika. It's good for children to see adults and community working together and helping each other. Teach them what is good. Correct. And this is why I say we have children, bring them out, on a Saturday. And you can always give them a little treat afterwards, you know how it is. But I think that it's important that children are involved in this. Bajan help. It's a Bajan spirit. It is a Bajan spirit. Yeah, good, 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 wonderful. Zaire. Yes, yes, there. But are you coming there? Will you be there on Saturday? Will you be there on Saturday? Will you be there on Sunday? Sunday, we are going to start at St. Mary's Church. Don't forget, we're starting at St. Mary's Church. Bring out the entire family. The police will be there guiding us along, and it's going to be a wonderful event. Okay, of love, of love. We're sharing love. Yes, Barbados has to rise again. Yes, please. Hi there. Wonderful. Can you tell somebody? Bring people from your church. Bring people from your youth group, your community groups. Bring them out. They wear white. Bring a non-perishable food item. Come and help us to share food. And we're going to share the food right there from the back of the truck to the people in the community. Give them a drink, something to drink. Not anything strong, some Moby, probably some juice, along with a nice hot meal. Okay, that's on Sunday. I think it's so important. It is so important that we do this. Square Four, are you going to be there? I know Tyrone is going to be there. Fabian is going to be there. Yes, Matthew Brown, are you going to be there? Folks, we are more than just a complaining bunch of people. It's not about that. We do these things because of Barbados, because of Barbados. And, with that in mind, I want to talk to us a little bit about, because the big question that we were asking tonight is, did the government lie? And did the government lie? I know that we're gonna definitely be talking about the breach of the Barbados Revenue Authority. We're definitely going to be speaking about that tonight. But even before we speak about that, there are many things that we have to ask. If the government lie? Many promises, many things we are told up to today about the schools, and Miss Rose Garbing is going to come in and speak about that. But I want to talk to us about something called the One Family Program. The One Family Program. I'm going to take 5 minutes and touch on this. I will deal with it a little further. But remember, when the One Family Program was introduced to us, and it was 2022, that they said that they're going to, this is the government of Barbados, that they are going to reach out to 1,000 families, right? And they are going to eradicate poverty. And they were putting about $30 million towards this One Family Program. Well, I've done some interviews. I've done some interviews with people who have signed up, families who signed up, with people who administer the program. And I'm here to say to us, this is another failed program, another program that is not happening. I am here to report to you tonight that this program is a sham. The program has nothing to offer the vulnerable people of Barbados. The One Family Program, it's another reason we have to ask, did the government lie? First of all, it doesn't have 1,000 people in the program. I know the minister said it started off with 200 and it was growing. No, it doesn't have 1,000 people in the program. The program is an empty shell. I spoke to clients, people who are signed on. Some of them did not even get vouchers for school. Some got, and some got 2 weeks after school started. They said that it wasn't just that they were going to provide money for families, housing. And what I'm understanding is that even the officers who are operating the program, basically what they've reduced them to is beggars, right? That they are reduced to beggars. There is nothing there. And you know what is amazing is that we take a show like this and we all come on here And I mean, I don't tell you the numbers of people that have benefited from this show. Where you, the Barbadians, you, with the true Bajan spirit, have helped so many persons. All it takes is a little organization. And we have to ask concerning the One Family program, did the government lie? This program was supposed to give families hope. And I know the government, they have people who come and they watch the show. And I would love for them to give us a report on the One Family program. We're asking the question, did the government lie to us? Is this another sham? It's an empty shell. A lot of what they're putting out there, I'm getting to understand they're fabricating the information. It has no substance. And I've spoken to those who administer the program, and I've spoken to clients of the program. There is no funding behind the program. That's the problem. There is no funding behind the program. This $30 million that is supposed to be behind the program, where is it? Did the government lie to the people of Barbados? Did we, what was this empty promises? Right? I've been told the only time they would get food vouchers at Christmas time. A lot of families are suffering. We know that because we get the calls every day. And through the generosity of Barbadians, through people like you who come onto the show, people are able to get a little relief. And we don't have a big staff. It's you, Barbadians, that's doing it. I know that Kirk Humphrey is trying his best. And I really believe that, I believe that he does try his best, but he doesn't have the resources. He's trying to prop up something that doesn't really exist. It's a shell. They just announced the thing, right? There's supposed to be training sessions, workshops, community development, right? And apparently just a few, they have like a little 25 at a time. The person I spoke to, they said it would take probably some 5 years or more before some clients will be able to participate. But when you go online, though, you see the videos. You remember the launch? The launch was a 2-hour show. They had people singing and entertainment, launching the One Family program. That is a sham. It's a shell. It's a sham. It's a shell. It has no substance. It has nothing to offer the vulnerable. It's empty. It's empty. And again, we are asking the question, did the government lie? We see Miss Corbin is coming on now, and you would have seen the first press release. She's going to talk about the schools. You'd have seen I don't know if she saw it, but the first press release said that there was a sharp object. That's what the Minister of Education said. It was a sharp object. And everything is calm and so on. When you speak to the people who were there, the place was flooded with police. And actually, it was a machete. It was a cutlass that a student grabbed. A cutlass. No wonder the children called their parents. It was a student wielding a cutlass. And they're saying was making us seem like it was a sharp object. Did the government lie? Yes, and a teacher was injured. The object grew into a cutlass. Did the government lie? Let me bring in Mrs. Rose Corbin at this point. Good evening, Mrs. Corbin. Good to see you. She's not hearing. Good evening, Mrs. Corbin. Good to see you. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Good
Okay, can you
evening.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was just checking something on my phone, a message, but I don't uh, know the source. Yes, yes, please. Good evening,
Yes.
Marcia.
Good evening. Good evening. It's great to see you this evening. How are you doing?
Yes, I I I I'm not usually on Friday, on Wednesdays, but after all that has happened today, I asked if you would oblige and permit me to just make an input. Thank you very much. Good night to you,
Yes, and can I
Mr.
just say to
Hall.
people that they haven't seen you, but in a little bit, but Miss Corbin, she permit me to say this, Mrs. Corbin, and some of you here from the loyal opposition, you have been working on Elevated for Life, and that is a program for school leavers. And I heard of how great it is. I am going to be showing up there one Saturday. I can't come this Saturday because I'm doing the water, but I'm going to just show up. But I heard that it's going really well, and this is for school leavers, and that's what we do here on the Loyal Opposition and the Marcia Week Show. We are not just talkers, we are not complainers, but we are going to get the job done. And so when you don't see Mrs. Corbin, that's what she's doing. So let me not take up any much of your time, but I
Yes,
wanna I
please.
wanna thank you for putting your hands where your mouth is, meaning that you're working, you're talking about education, but you are working. And that's
Yes,
what that's the Bajan spirit.
yes, I have. As you know, I've shifted my focus to get that program going, training the volunteers as well as preparing materials and taking the lead in facilitating. And it's been going good. And I want to say thank you, Marcia, for the opportunity. Thank you. And we are
You're welcome.
having a good time with those students. And we're keeping it, as Sonia would have said, count small so that we can treat it as a pilot and then look at the way forward. So thank you again. And I am kind of here this evening, and may I say good evening in my usual fashion to loyal sons and daughters, all firm craftsmen of our faith. Good evening, and I am here a little bit, and thank you, Peter. I am here kind of somber in many ways. And I want to start with many of us know that um, that verse, that song that is sung primarily by the Catholics and the Anglican as part of their greeting. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And I have chosen those two lines. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And I know that all of us who are on this program tonight here in Barbados and in the diaspora, across the Caribbean. That's our desire. We want peace. And I'm certain that we seek to let it begin with us. Your
Yeah.
efforts, Marcia, to go through the communities. I remember when we were discussing how do we deal with all that's happening and should we march? And I remember we were tossing up ideas, and I said, why not let's have a solemn walk?
Correct.
And that's what it's become.
And
And
if I could interject here, Rose, just to say that that is what happens here on the show when we
yeah,
come together. Everybody bring we bring ideas and we make things happen. That Sun and Walk originated right on the show. You
yeah,
know, the name of it was something you suggested, and people said yes, 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 let's do that. And pieces of it started to come together on the show. So you know, that's what this show is about, the Marcia Week show and the loyal opposition. Continue,
yes.
please.
And it concerns us, and we're making the effort. But some recent developments um, caused me to think about the seriousness and how it's being treated here. And I'm going to ask you to show that clip for me um, of the Prime Minister speaking at the UN.
one by one, and the manners in which they are being sustained and financed, we will never know anything else other than war and rumors of war in these theaters. The transmittal of these scenes of horror in real time into people's bedrooms, into people's living rooms, will trigger two extreme reactions, neither of which are acceptable to us in the third decade of the 21st century. We will either get the desensitizing of ordinary people to the loss of lives, especially those of innocent children and women on the one hand, or we will get, on the other hand, the anger and inclination for vengeance that it spawns necessarily. We need peace. Let me be clear. We condemn the actions of Hamas on October 7th, but we equally and strongly deplore the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, which is the result of the disproportionate use of force by Israel. There's no justification for it. And that is why treaties exist governing the rules of engagement for war. Because we as human beings learned better and know better and committed to better. A two-state solution, no matter how elusive it may appear to be now, is the only answer.
Marcia, could we now play it again? And may I ask our audience to listen to what the Prime Minister said? This has nothing to do with Israel versus Palestine. This has nothing to do with which side you take. This is not where I am going. I am saying that here is the Prime Minister on the world stage instructing on peace between those two nations, wagging her finger in the only way that she can do, and speaking extemporaneously on the subject. And for me, like the proverbial bull in the china shop, instructing our world affairs and leaving our 166 square miles experiencing the shocks of violence almost every day. The peace that is being advised and how it should be done between Israel and Palestine should begin at home. I am not convinced that sufficiently is being done beyond a $100,000 football competition in her name. That's a solution. They call for the removal of tent because of money, that it has become so trivialized that no one has taken it seriously. We have had conversations about the AG seeming not to have known that that would have been the announcement or the pronouncement. And my concern, Marcia, is that although there has been a ceasefire of sorts on the streets, we have seen a transition of violence from the streets into the schools, into the classrooms. And this is our leader instructing superpowers, getting into people's business, and telling them what to do on the global stage while Barbados is being assaulted by crime and violence that has crept into our schools. Listen to what the Prime Minister says, that kind of violence, that kind of war can cause the effects. And let us see if we too are being affected in like manner. Let's play it again. It's just 2 minutes or so. It can't harm us. Take note on the effects that she has cited that
one by one
are being felt by the war between Israel and Palestine.
One by one. And the manners in which they are being sustained and financed, we will never know anything else other than war and rumors of war in these theaters. The transmittal of these scenes of horror in real time into people's bedrooms, into people's living rooms, will trigger two extreme reactions, neither of which are acceptable to us in the third decade of the 21st century. We will either get the desensitizing of ordinary people to the loss of lives, especially those of innocent children and women on the one hand, or we will get, on the other hand, the anger and inclination for vengeance that it spawns necessarily. We need peace. Let me be clear. We condemn the actions of Hamas on October 7th. But we equally and strongly deplore the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, which is the result of the disproportionate use of force by Israel. There's no justification for it. And that is why treaties exist governing the rules of engagement for war. Because we as human beings learned better and know better and committed to better. A two-state solution, no matter how elusive it may appear to be now, is the only answer.
Thank you.
We have to have.
Thank you. And the Prime Minister, I'm quoting her, noted that These scenes are coming into people's bedrooms and living rooms. What's happening on a 166 square miles? We sleep with it. We're afraid of it. Haven't we heard of the many households that in neighborhoods that say that they live in fear? Children can't play. We would have seen what happened to two innocent children shot by loose bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And the Prime Minister talked about these acts that we see in real time causes a desensitizing.
Mm.
It's it desensitizing to the crime and the violence and the acts of war only on the global scene? Have we reached a place of becoming apathetic and being desensitized and saying, it's not my son, it's not my daughter, we shift blame? And she also transitioned and said, on the other hand, it can cause anger and an inclination to violence. And we have seen it. It doesn't have to be bombs dropping on us. It doesn't have to be missiles. It doesn't have to be the suicide bomber. It doesn't have to be what occurs over there. In my own country, Barbados, 166 square miles, where if one person coughs, everybody gets a cold. And our Prime Minister can pontificate in superfluous language. And I listened on Monday night to colleague Maxine McLean talked about the contradictions. You speak so superfluously and you warn the nation, and you spoke about what Israel is doing to the Palestinian, and you've shown your side. There has been no consultation either in terms of people, the public's feeling. Why should Barbados be take the lead? Is it a bigger picture that has not been revealed to us, that Barbados is being strung along on all of these utterances? And it comes from her. And I'm telling the Prime Minister, have a serious, honest dialogue, engagement with the people of Barbados, which is instructive on the measures you will take to minimize the desensitizing of the people, the public, the Barbadian public to what is happening, because that can happen. You identified it as a and I would call it a psychosocial, emotional response to the crime and violence. As well, on the other hand, the anger and inclination to violence, which is a tit-for-tat response. You shoot up, you interfere with my section, my group, I come in for you. Tell us. It is real time in our bedrooms and living room. Tell us, Madam Prime Minister, just as you told and instruct the United Nations with the world looking on, tell us in Barbados, beyond that contrived press conference that you had before you jetted off, come back to us reset and let us know what plans are there, measurable, that will be put in place or are in place so that we cannot be afraid, we cannot become desensitized to crime and violence, neither do we see our young people reacting with anger and have that inclination to violence. I thought that I would play it and let us think about which is of greater importance, home or the global platform. And Marcia, also looking at what's happening in our schools, I want you to quickly, and because I don't want to take up a lot of time, look, Marcia, at those BLP manifesto promises of 2018. That can be a start. You know, Marcia, I keep going back to those. This is 6 years on. 6 years on. And maybe they lied to us, giving us some glossy promises that they know that they could not deliver. And then again, I was saying, when the now Prime Minister of Education, and I lend my voice, this time not, I lend my voice unequivocally to those who are saying that the minister of, it's time for the Minister of Education to resign. We cannot have this fumbling, this uncertainty, the uncertainties in education. Nothing seems to be going right in education. Day by day, parents live on the edge, whether to hear schools will be closed because of some problem at the school. They go to work or they go back home or to their various activities with cell phone in hand, waiting for that call that there is some violence, some negative activity at the school that causes school to be closed early. You wonder, you send your child away with a prayer. I believe parents who are not given to pray now they're praying because they don't know, they live from moment to moment, from the time that child leaves home until that child returns, not knowing what will happen during the day. What quality education and instruction is that child receiving? And I am saying, Madam Minister of Education, if it is too much for you, resign. I shared a case study with the Minister of Education in the UK, said it was too much for her. She wasn't doing a good job. She acknowledged it and she resigned. But then again, Marcia, you will recall, this is the same senator for whom they changed the Caswell would be better to explain it, or Max Maxine or Glenn, so that she could become a senator. And there was Minister, I think, of innovation and technology, and didn't do a good job at it. And you shifted her from there into education. So education now is a second class citizen. It's no longer the cog in the wheel for development of the nation. What is happening to education? Do we have to bring in artificial intelligence to solve a problem, to instruct, to deliver on education? And it before, Marcia, we were concerned about that kind of taking to school the the um, the knife and the razor and whatever at secondary school, but it is in primary school, in a rural primary school. Note, a rural primary school. These things were most likely seen as occurring more in the city, in the schools, um, in the city area, the inner city, or around certain trouble spots.
Yes.
But now it is in a rural school. And you know what troubles me, Marcia? That we get a public announcement. A matter like these, we are getting PR announcements saying, like how when um, the television station or the radio station is closed, something happens, you see a notice flashing across the screen. Um, we are experiencing some technical problems. Um, Service will soon resume. And that is what I saw on social media, that I don't know the source of this one, but I am seeing this. Um, Dighton Griffith on lockdown. Boy took to school a cutlass and he's currently barricaded in the office and awaiting his sister, who is a police officer. This is what was circulated. And then I don't know the source. Good morning, parents, guardians. I want to inform you that the school is currently in lockdown. I've been assured that the situation is under control and everything is proceeding smoothly. So these things happen. You have a shutdown. Children are sent home early, school closed, and then we get this reassuring statement that the matter is being handled and school will resume.
Yeah.
And this is a no-no. This is unacceptable. And the same I would have wished that someone, the Prime Minister has said that she will be traveling and she would have the Sherpa helping her and she will be in touch through the cell phone and using the technology. I wish that someone had sent her a message about what happened at Alexandra, what happened at the St. Catherine's Primary, what happened at Dighton Griffith, and that she would have stopped by the UNESCO representative there and asked them for help.
Yes.
Marcia, may I show ourselves, to ourselves, what UNESCO We have been signing on to every scrap of paper that comes our way from UNESCO, from the UN, from IDB, from World Bank, to get probably China, to get whatever they have to offer her. But I'm speaking on education.
Yes, and we literally have 2 more minutes because I have Reverend Ferdinand is coming on, and
Okay,
we have a
but
couple other things.
we have signed on. I don't know where to go with this one. That's why we rushed education reform, because we wanted to say that we had achieved the sustainable development goals in a timely fashion, rushed though it may. And I would wish, and I don't know if I would have an opportunity to share on UNESCO probably later in the program. I don't know.
Well,
However,
probably because what we will have some probably some time between 9 and 10. So we will see. We will see. If
yes,
not, yeah, we try
but
and do
in
it.
my 1 minute now,
1 minute, yes.
quickly let's look at that mission critical quickly from 2018. And I was prefacing by saying, I could say, beg your pardon, Minister McConney, you were not there in 2018 as Minister Education when Mission Critical were, proposals were presented in the manifesto. But you had time to, if you're a good researcher, educator, leader, you should have studied those. So may I quickly ask Dave to look at mission critical and ask if these things have been done, and if they were done, would we be experiencing those matters on crime and violence?
Yes, yes. Rose, I believe you have tonight, once again, I actually loved how you use that video from the UN to really, say how we're really feeling and what we're experiencing as parents and grandparents, the trauma that we're experiencing, like the people in Gaza or the people in the Israel, like in the Middle East. Violence is violence,
Yes,
and as you're saying, we hope that and wish that our prime minister would be able to understand that and really understand that home drums beat first. Well, thank you so much tonight,
you're
Ms. Corbin.
welcome.
And I know you normally go off, refresh yourself, and you'll be back. You
Yes,
can jump on
please.
back at about 9. Okay, thank you so very much. God bless.
Thank you.
Yes. Again, that is Mrs. Rose Corbin, and very much, really, as she said, very solemn. Let there be peace, but let it begin with me, and that's what we're saying to Miss Motley. Let the peace begin with you. The peace needs to start at home. I think that was great. But just before Dr. Ferdinand comes, there's something, and I love to listen to the people in the chat. I believe Dave put up something about the pin that the prime minister is wearing, and I want Dave, can you put up let me see which one you're going to put up. Let's see. Okay, so this is which country is this? Bahamas. So you don't have to play it. What I want to get to is the part where he's standing, and you can clearly see his flag on his. Do you see the flag there? That's his flag there. You can right there. Stop it. That's Bahamas with the flag. Barbadians, I want us to. This is not. I want you to really just think, please. Use the education that you have, use the analytical skills that you have. I want you to stop and look. I want you to look. I want you to look. I want you to see something today, tonight, that this is telling us about where Our Prime Minister's heart is, where her head is, where her mind is, where her focus is. Dave, just pause it. Find that moment, that spot and pause. Right, just pause it right there. And somebody brought this up. Dave brought it up this evening, and I thank him so much. And somebody else, do you see what he's wearing right there on? It will be his left breast. You see his flag? Do you see his flag there? Let me bring in Dr. Ferdinand. Can you see the flag? Let's have a discussion tonight, because I want us to look at this with like big people tonight, and analyze it. You see the flag of the Prime Minister of Bahamas. You see his flag on his left breast. Do you see it? Do you see Dr. Ferdinand's flag in the back of him there? Do you see I keep a flag here every night? All right. Dave, go to Jamaica and let's look at that. And this is what I want. And this I don't know for you, but this hurts me. I'm all up in my feelings about this as I saw this tonight, guys. Look, this is Prime Minister Holness from Jamaica, regardless of what you think, because he's another corrupt one. But look on his left breast. What do you see on there? Barbadians, all 787 of you watching. I want you to open up your eyes and your heart and your mind and listen to what I'm telling you tonight. Look on his left breast. What is on his left breast? Please, I want us to think, because we need to, Dr. Ferdinand, good night. But I want us to come to an understanding tonight. I'm really, this makes me emotional. It makes me emotional, yes. So you can say I'm being emotional, yes, because when I'm patriotic about something, I'm patriotic. My training as being patriotic is coming from being a Jamaican, right? Born in Jamaica. I want you to now look at the disrespect of this woman on the screen. I am not calling her the Prime Minister tonight. And yes, go write me and tell me I'm disrespectful. Look at her. Look at what? Look at her clothes. Colin Roach, what does she have on her clothes? She has the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN on her clothes. She does not wear the Barbados flag. All of them, go through. If you think I'm lying, when the show is finished, go back through all of them, and you will see everyone who spoke had their national flag, even the person who was moderating. I propose to you tonight, Marcia Weeks is proposing to you tonight, that Mia Motley's head is not in Barbados, her mind is not in Barbados, her body is not in Barbados, her heart is not in Barbados. She does not care about this country anymore. But you know what? A lot of you, I don't know how it makes you feel, but let me tell you something. I want to see a Jamaican Prime Minister go to represent Jamaica and do this. I want to see that Prime Minister that does that. Yes, I am emotional. So when you write and tell me, oh, they don't like when you, yes, I'm telling you I'm emotional. Dave, put it back on here. I want you to put it on here. Oh, thank you, Dave. Who is this? Is this Trinidad, Dave? Or Bahamas?
Trinidad. That's Trinidad.
Trinidad is here at the same summit she was just at. Look on his left breast. Look on his left breast. Look on his left breast. That is the most disrespectful thing, Dr. Ferdinand. Why am I so upset about it? I don't even understand, when I was not even born in this country. It angers me.
Mm.
And that is a woman that is governing. She is not governing this country. She is not governing this country. Dave, thank you for that observation. She is not governing this country. I want Barbadians, Dr. Ferdinand, before you say anything, I want Barbadians to register. How does that make you feel as a Barbadian? That everyone there is wearing their country flag, and she is speaking, and she doesn't have it on. She's wearing the Sustainable Development Goals, where the goal is it goal number 7 is water, or goal number 4? What is it? Somebody tell me. Is water the right for clean water that the people in St. Lucie don't have? The people in St. Joseph don't have? Those 17 development goals are not in existence in Barbados. This angers me. I think Dr. Ferdinand, Barbadians need to demand more. And I am asking Barbadians, when is enough going to be enough? Look at Antigua. Do you see the flag on Antigua? Because they respect the country. She does not respect Barbados. Is nothing for me, Motley. I am angry tonight. Yes, you say it's a flag. It's your country's flag. This is what, I'm trained in Jamaica. This is what I am trained in. How I was brought up, Dr. Ferdinand. And angry tonight. Yes. And I know a couple of you, my Christian friends, are going to tell me I mustn't get this angry, but it angers me, and I'm not pretending. I'm not a pretender. You know what, Dr. Ferdinand, I don't know if you have a comment on this.
Oh, well, good evening, loyal opposition, and good evening, Marcia. Let me just say what a pleasure it is to be on the show with you again tonight. And let me say to you, you are your father's child. Your father gets angry. And when he gets angry, a lot of stuff happens. And I think you know what I mean when I say you're your father's child. God gets angry. And so I don't think you need to be making an apology to anyone regarding the passion and the anger that you feel. And I want to thank Dave, because while you were speaking, Marcia, I went back as far as 2 to 3 years on international speeches and forums and platforms. And at no time is our prime minister wearing the national flag. Now, we are supposed to, as leaders in our country, to protect a number of things: our constitution, our vote, our national flag, and you all have heard me express it every Monday, the Pledge of Allegiance. And Marcia, that pledge says, I pledge allegiance to my flag. This is what it says: I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living to do credit to my nation wherever I go. And I must be honest with you, in all that I have been following in terms of the prime minister and the summit and the UN matters, I did not catch that. And so I want to say thank you this evening, and we should all be saying thank you to Dave for having caught that. Indeed, every single, and I watched it as you were speaking, I went through a number of varying speakers that went to that platform. Very few prime ministers and leaders of countries, the majority of foreign ministers went to the podium, and those who went were wearing their national flag. Our prime minister was not. She was wearing the Sustainable Development Goal emblem and pin. And down toward the bottom of that pin, number 6 in the Sustainable Development Goal is clean water and sanitation. That is the Sustainable Development Goal pin. Now, I have no issues with her wearing the pin, but as you have identified, and thank you again, Dave, where's the flag? And
You
I
know what
made
would
the
be good, Dr. Ferdinand, if Dave could, Dave, can you look before, like in when Miss McLean was Minister of Foreign Affairs, etc. Can you check for me, Dave, about the pin? You know, go back some years and let's see. But continue. I
yes,
don't want to.
that's
Dave
fine.
will do
That's
it.
fine.
That just focus on what you're doing. Dave will do it.
That's
Dr.
fine because I went back just about 2 to 3 years as you were speaking. I went back and I looked at the different members that went to the platform, went to rostrum to speak, and they're wearing their national flags as far as 2 or 3 years ago, and our prime minister is not. In other words, she does not represent Barbados. Marcia, in all my years as a minister, my singing has carried me across the length and breadth of the Caribbean into the United States, Canada. I used to wear my national flag as a type in, and then sometimes on my lapel, on my jacket lapel, especially if I was going into an international forum, such as a conference in Anaheim, California, or in Braeside in Canada, or whatever, wherever I was going in that kind of a forum, particularly, I would wear my national flag. Periodically, I would wear it within the Caribbean. Most of the time in the United States, Canada, South America, wherever I minister, because I'm very proud of my country. And as a matter of fact, people have been amazed at the capacity that I possess in terms of my singing, coming from a country that on many maps is not even present on the map. I would never forget in 1993 when I took a tour. I went to BMW in Munich, Germany, to represent and to look for the dealership. And when I stepped into the boardroom to talk with the board members, Barbados was not on their map. If I did not know from my schooling 59.1 and 13.1, I went to the map and I put a dot on the map. And that's Miss McLean.
What is she wearing?
I'm seeing the Sustainable
The what?
Development Goals. I'm seeing the Sustainable Development Goal,
I
but
don't
there's a
hear you.
bar.
Okay, so she's wearing the independence, the 50 years of independence, because
Yes,
she went in the year in the independence. So that's what Miss McLean who addressed. And this is another thing again. You see, Dr. Ferdinand, I want Barbados to understand because this goes, she's wearing the independence pin, is what, and others can go and check it out, okay?
yes,
Now,
yes.
Miss McLean said something to us the other night, and you can research whatever you hear on this show. Majority of the persons who spoke at that UN conference were not prime ministers or
That's
head of
correct.
states.
That's
They
correct.
were they were the ministers of foreign affairs or some
Correct.
other, ministry. Okay? I want you to understand that Barbados. I want you to we are intelligent and I don't stop just open your eyes tonight, please, and see what it is and take it for what it is. This prime minister is about herself. I spoke today. So this picture we're showing is to show that Miss McLean is wearing the 50th independence pin on her clothes. Miss McLean, she is going to be wearing something like that. Okay? Now,
Absolutely.
I spoke to someone from Guyana, and the International Labor ILO International Labor Organization, that's ILO, is that what it's the
That's
O is
right.
for?
That's right.
And they told me this. Barbados, listen to this. ILO conference, the International Labor Organization conference, was held in Switzerland. It was held in Turkey. It was held in Trinidad. And you know what they told me, Dr. Ferdinand? On each of those occasions, instead of the Minister of Labor addressing the ILO, it was the Prime Minister of Barbados. In fact, what I was told was that the minister, Colin Jordan, was there with her. And Colin Jordan said not a word. It was the prime minister that addressed the ILO. Trinidad, the ILO was in Trinidad. She flew from Barbados to Trinidad to speak and then flew and came back. The Colin Jordan could not speak. Here it is. Say what you want about Front Stewart, but here it is. Maxine McLean is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and she's allowed to speak at the UN.
But Marcia, she doesn't even allow her ministers to speak in Barbados. So
But
why would?
what I'm trying to say, though, Mr. Dr.
Oh, I
Ferdinand,
understand.
I
I
want
understand.
Barbadians to understand the
Yes.
ambition of this woman. This woman, and I'm sorry, yes, I can't even, that flag thing has messed me up. I don't know if I can call her my PM anymore. Because that, for me, you've crossed the line with me personally with that. It's one thing already. We can see your ambition. You're wearing it on your sleeve. You want to speak at everything. You want to be the person out there. That you have a whole PR team sending your stuff across Africa so that they can vote for you to be part of the UN. We see that. We recognize that you're doing that. But to disrespect Barbados in such a way. Here it is again. Who is this young man here?
That is the Prime Minister of, I think that's Grenada.
Grenada, and he's wearing his pin. He's wearing it, and I want Barbadians, remember this tonight. Remember this tonight. You do not have a prime minister that cares about you. You do not have a prime minister that cares about Barbados. Barbados is not in our head. It's not in our head. It's not in our heart. It's not in our mind. It's not part of our system. She has moved on from us, Dr. Ferdy, a long time ago.
Well, Marcia, there are quite a few comments in the chat with pertaining
Yes.
to this. I mean, it's clear. It's clear. And I mean, I'm looking at this young man. I think he's the youngest leader in the Caribbean, of any Caribbean country at the moment, I believe, when he was elected to office. And imagine the example he is setting to his people. As a matter of fact, I won't even get into that. Here he is in the UN, addressing the UN, and he's wearing his national flag. Give you grant he's the prime minister. I don't know why he would have gone as the prime minister to address the UN. Believe there are facilities in the UN addressing, in terms of the summit that we've just watched, where either the prime minister or foreign affairs ministers can be engaging in the process that is before us. But I do want to express concern, as you have said it, because the national flag, and Marcia, this brings us back to a lot of what we are seeing happening in our country when it comes to matters of disrespect. Because there is a psalm, I think it's the 33rd psalm, that speaks about the anointing that flows down from the head of the priest Aaron all the way down to the bottom of his garment. And in other words, what it is representing is that what is at the head flows down to the body. And so we have a prime minister who does not respect the sovereign symbols. Someone placed in the chat concerning the United States of America, how significantly important the national flag is to the United States of America, to the point where President Obama was chastised on an occasion for not wearing his United States pin. But we have a prime minister who has taken our flag to Ghana and lured it into a grave. And that is the last, I believe, that she would have had any association with our flag in terms of the international community. But it is clear she represents the international community. We have been saying this for the longest time on this show. I have been expressing it. You have been expressing it. Others that have come on the show have been expressing it. She no longer represents this country. We did not elect her to office and her government to office to represent the United Nations. And I take offense, and if it can be taken, and I have to be careful with that, when I hear the expressions in her speeches at the UN, and knowing the condition that she has left Barbados in. And let me just say, Marcia, I was watching the presentation by Rose while I was preparing to join you tonight. And I want to say that this matter with the Minister of Education and the schools is personal now to me. Today, ladies and gentlemen, at my grandson's school, the school that my grandson attends, my youngest grandson that is in secondary school, there was a matter to do with a sharp object, which they said it was a sharp object, which I have learned from persons within the sector of the school was a cutlass. Now, I want to draw, and I take it very, very seriously because I do not know what could have happened in the school that my grandson is at. And I remember turning to my wife and saying to her, because our daughter notified us very quickly in the afternoon as to what had transpired, and we were on standby to go and collect him from the school. And they released a message that it was apparently no big deal. And I want to put it that way, no big deal. It is a big deal. Let me tell you why it's a big deal. We have had stabbings. We have had matters to do with knives and stabbings at St. Catherine's Primary School. We have had a matter now with cutlass at Dighton Griffith. We have had a stabbing at Alexandria. We have had a fiasco at the IADB, Inter-American Development Bank, in all of our schools. In Springer Memorial, we had the debacle that we saw. We had the issue with the gender-neutral bathrooms at St. Philip Primary School. We had the resignations of principals and teachers here right now at the start of this school year. We had late transfers of principals and the late opening of schools. Marcia, if this was the private sector, minister would be fired. And I am saying tonight, enough is enough. Could you imagine, Marcia, me sitting in my home this afternoon and receive a call that my grandson has been injured because of some matter at the school that has nothing to do with him? And I am saying to the parents, I am saying to the Parent Teachers Associations, I am saying to the Union of Teachers and the unions of principals, it is time that we come together and shut this country down until the Minister of Education resigns. And I'm calling on parents, keep your children, let me tell you, keep your children home for a couple of days. Don't go to work. Shut down your offices and see what will happen in this country. There are thousands of parents and thousands of children in our schools. And our Minister of Education, in the face of all that has happened, has not once come to the general public and apologized. She has not once come and explained herself, and in a very respectful manner. She has come in her bombastic, arrogant nature. And I think it was Rose that identified a few moments ago that the Constitution of Barbados was amended so that she could be brought into this country and made a senator. And she has failed it as a Minister of Education. And I'm calling on the parents. I'm making a call on the parents to keep your children home, stay home from work, shut the country down until the Minister of Education resigns. And people may say, but Rev, you're not supposed to be that way. Let me tell you something. You all better go and read about Jesus, huh? Go and read about that man. That man was not a foolish, namby-pamby, wishy-washy idiot. He went into the temple one day to see what was going on. And he saw people in there taking abuse of the temple. And Marcia, there are some versions of the scripture that indicate that he premeditatedly sat down and plait the whip. In other words, it wasn't something that was just an ad hoc moment, that flew into his mind. No, he sat down looking around that temple while he was plaiting that whip. And when he was finished plaiting that whip, he released a volley of lashes all through that temple. So don't talk to me about no namby-pamby, wishy-washy, gentle Jesus, meek and mild. That is not the Jesus Christ that I am following. That is not what he is. He would not tolerate nonsense. And when people came to him to try and trap him, he would put them in their place. And he expressed, you are of your father, the devil. He said to them, that there were whitest sepulchres filled with dead men's bones. And that is a nice way of cussing off at the time. He didn't use abusive language, but if you understand, just like Marcia, you would know in the Eastern and Muslim countries, if somebody throws a shoe at you, it's a curse they're releasing at you. So when somebody looks at you and tells you you are a white sepulchre with dead men's bones, you better go back and look and see what Jesus was actually saying to those people. And it wasn't a very pleasant expression. So I am very, very serious about the call I'm making for parent teachers associations, for these principals of schools, the union of schools, parents, children. Shut the country down and say to the Prime Minister, we have had enough.
Correct.
Remove the Minister of Education. Look, my good friend Sandra Husbands has gone over into the Ministry of Education and they still can't get it together. Imagine we have had late starts on schools after 9 to 10 weeks. Late starts on school. Principals not knowing where anybody. And I'm glad that Rose pointed out the resignation of the Minister of Education in the UK. Madam Minister, if you have any decency in you, if you really care about the children of our country and the educational system in our country, you will do the honorable thing. Resign. And let somebody else call Rose and let Rose take over the Ministry of Education. But that has to be the case. And Marcia, I will tell you, I feel passionately. I embrace your passion. Do not apologize to anybody for it. You have every right to.
Dr. Ferdinand, I want to say, in light of, we heard Rose this evening early up at 7:30. You heard Dr. Ferdinand. You saw what Dave was able to point out that we expounded on the show. And I'm saying to it's 910 of you that are watching, myself and the panelists, we all here. So what are we going to do about this? We have a prime minister that does not care two hoots about us, has disrespected this country at the United Nations. Disrespected us. We have, for the week, we had 4 schools since school started with knives and machetes. A teacher got injured. Suppose they had chopped up the children in the school today. Barbadians, we have self-respect. You understand? What will be our response? We haven't even touched the data breach as yet.
Breach.
We haven't even touched that yet. I'm asking you, are we wasting our time here on the show? We think that this is a waste of time? What is our response?
Marcy, you remember?
This can't be allowed. This can't be. I agree, Dr. Ferdinand. We need to shut it down. We've been saying that, but people, they come on and all they want to do is type. All they want to do is type. Go ahead, Dr. Ferdinand.
No, I was going to say to you, when she was in opposition, she organized a march against the government. And she made, and I don't know if Dave can find that video. She made a solemn commitment. She made the word used was solemn promise to Barbadians that Barbados would not be governed in the way that it was governed when she comes to office. It would be governed differently. Well, that's true actually, Marcia. She has governed it differently. She's governed it worse than it has ever been governed by any prime minister who has ever held office in this country. And when I look at her in the United Nations, at no time, and I have never forgotten, I was not a supporter of the Democratic Labour Party back in those days when Errol Barra was the Prime Minister of Barbados. I was a member of the BLP. My entire family were members of the Barbados Labour Party. And I have never forgotten the statement that Mr. Barra made. We will be friends of all and satellites of none. But what we are seeing is that Barbados has been sold out on the international circuit. And she represents them to us and not us to them. You look at the Prime Minister of Grenada. wearing his flag, representing his country to the UN. You look at the Prime Minister of Jamaica representing his country to the UN. You look at the Foreign Minister of Trinidad and Tobago representing his country to the UN. Look at the Prime Minister of Barbados. The Sustainable Development Goals pin is on her show, is on her lapel, representing the United Nations to Barbados. She has not been elected by the UN. She was elected by the people of Barbados to protect the interests of the people of Barbados, to represent the interests of the people of Barbados. And that she is not doing.
It's really a shame. And if we were to even just look at Dr. Ferdinand, look at what has happened to our data. Look at what has happened. And, I want to just use this opportunity to say to Niel Harper, if you are listening on behalf of the people of Barbados, we want to apologize to you, son of the soil, Niel Harper, who you could tell you love your country. I've spoken to you before. You've been on the show. Niel Harper, on behalf of Barbados, I want to say we are sorry. We are sorry. We are sorry that you have been someone who has trained yourself. You've been recognized worldwide. And this government has decided that they will not listen to any advice from you. We are sorry. We are sorry for the way that you've been treated. And I want to thank you, Niel Harper. I want to thank you, Niel Harper, for giving us the truth. And it wasn't just now, but from the time that the Barbados decided we wanted to go digital with those IDs, you stood in the way and you tried to protect us, Niel Harper. You're a statesman. You're a statesman. And we thank you. And we are really sorry that this is the way that you have been treated. But I know you had something to say about the
Well, Marcy, to be honest with you, I have been in touch with Niel over the past couple of hours um, to get a confirmation of what has been shared with his name on it, because I don't often like to share things unless I get the consent of the persons and the confirmation that what is being shared in their name is actually from them. But Niel Harper, Marcia, I don't have. I was trying to find it, but I had a listing of the qualifications of Niel, and I can't put my hand on it. So I do apologize to the loyal opposition tonight for not having that. That I can tell you who this young man is. He is a Barbadian. He is one of the most sought after cybersecurity experts on the planet. He has worked for the United Nations. He's sought after by Denmark, Sweden, Australia. This is a son of the soil of Barbados. Who persons from other countries, Niel Harper, persons from other countries they are seeking him to get his advice and contribution toward the security, cybersecurity. And may I make the point, Marcia, that just this week, the World Economic Forum turned its spotlight on cybersecurity and listed 10 things that you need to know in 2024 concerning the matter of cybersecurity. And the funny thing is that as I observe Niel's comments, almost every one of them is treating to the World Economic Forum recommendations in terms of protecting our data interests. But Marcia, let me say before I even share with them, with the platform, what Niel has said. Persons are doubting, are being told that this has just been a hack. This has not been a hack. I raised the matter when I got the information. And the interesting thing is, Marcia, that one of the places, or the place that has reached out to the Barbados government, is an organization called databreaches.net. I have done some research on databreaches.net to see how authentic they are. And I am discovering the more I search that what they do is that they are in touch with persons who breach individuals, platforms, and so forth, in order to what should I say, bring them into alignment and share information with the appropriate authorities and so forth as it relates to what's happening. And they have identified an entity called PRYX, pricks or prikes. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. This is the seller of the information that was taken from the BRA here in Barbados. Now, Mr. Niel Harper has confirmed this. And as a matter of fact, in his correspondence to us, he has written to the Prime Minister, he has written to the Attorney General, he has written to MARSHA CADDLE, and he has made himself available, Marcia, in spite of the fact of what you just said, where both parties' governments have disrespected Niel Harper. In spite of that, Niel has reached out to try to help. And he made the point, he said this quite clearly: the data stolen by malicious threat actors includes the following: national and foreign passports, national and foreign ID cards, national and foreign driver's license, financial transactions, vehicle registrations, vehicle transfer of ownership letters, company incorporated documents, customs documents, license payment invoices, medical certificates, and he says, and lots more. So this has not been a simple hack. This has been a significant data breach. And the data and the databreaches.net reveals that some 30 gigabytes. Marcia, do you understand the amount of content in terms of information that 30 gigabytes represents? We are not talking about pictures here or videos. We're talking about script. We're talking about letters. We're talking about numbers. Over 30 gigabytes are out there on the black market, so to speak, for sale by this organization called PRYX, PRYX. And the people sent information to data breach so that they can confirm and show that they have this information. Sorry, I'm saying 30 gigabytes. It's actually 230 gigabytes of uncompressed data, Marcia. Uncompressed, which means that you don't have to open it up and decompress it to get it open. It's open. And that, we are told by the administration here, that it's been a simple hack. It's not. Mr. Harper has made it clear what it is, and he has made himself available to the government, and he said his instructions to them were to do the following things. And I want the people to listen: be transparent and notify all data subjects that their data has been exposed, and explain the severity of the breach to them. 2, provide the data subjects with guidance on how to protect themselves from harms such as identity theft, fraud, bank account compromise, phishing, etc. 3, explain to the data subjects what the government plans to do to prevent these types of breaches from happening again. And 4, notify all supervisory authorities in the EU, the UK, Canada, etc., that their citizens' data has been breached. He goes on to say, Marcia, that failing to do so, the government would be in violation of several international data protection laws, as well as the Barbados Data Protection Act. The laws generally require that data subjects and supervisory authorities are to be notified of a material breach in 72 hours. This man knows what he's talking about, Marcia. And the government does not want to hear him and take his advice. My information is out there. And if I see anything happening where my information is concerned, I am going straight to a law court. And I'm going to raise a lawsuit against the government of Barbados for not protecting my data and my personal information. Because they are obligated to do that for the citizenry of this country. And if it's being breached, they should be in touch with every single individual that they have listed to allow them to know that that has been the case. But instead of that, this government continues to be arrogant and continues to feel that it has no responsibility to be transparent and to be held accountable for the things that are happening in this country. We have said here on more than one occasion, I wish to God we had a way of moving a no confidence motion in the House of Assembly to remove this government, because as far as I am aware, there are only two ways currently in the Constitution, and that is why, Marcia, I am advocating for the imposition of an additional process to get a government removed when they do not fulfill the commitment that they make when they pledge having one government at the President's house. They pledge to protect the interests of the country, of this country, Barbados.
Yes.
And that is what I wanted to share with you, the loyal opposition, with you tonight. I am very concerned about it. I don't know now who has my information. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't know what they will do with it, but I now have to wait and see if anything begins to show up concerning anything to do with me. And everybody else should have that concern in their minds.
But very well said, Dr. Ferdinand. And what we expect of our government, because this has happened in various countries, and that is why they have what they've done. And what Niel Harper is saying is that you can beef up your security, right? You can beef up the security, and which is what he had been proposing and saying to Barbados, you're not ready yet. Spend some time to secure, right? And I mean, you're out there. It's because every time they're going to try to outsmart you. And so spend the money, spend the time, and do things properly. That is what he's saying, and protect the citizens. There are ways that it can be protected, that the data can be protected. Other countries are doing it. There are ways. I remember when during the election in the U.S., which I want to show a little video tonight. I don't know if Dave can get one of them ready for me, because I want to educate people on this particular issue, because we can talk around it. We don't have, as I said earlier, we don't have a professional on here to speak on it. I've been talking with Niel since yesterday, and he doesn't want to do any more shows. The first show that he did in Barbados was this show, and he said to me, "Marcia, I'm tired. I'm really tired." And then they tried to victimize my family. He still has family in Barbados, so he's just tired. And he says he's been talking to me since yesterday that it happened. The first person I went to was Niel Harper. And he said, "Marcia, I can confirm. I went on the dark net, and I'm telling you, it is so, Marcia."
Yes.
And so we've been talking since yesterday, but he doesn't want to do any shows. He's tired. He says, "Marcia, they have victimized my family. They've marginalized my family. They don't want anything to do with me." So he's washed his hands. Thank God that only because of him, we would have taken what MARSHA CADDLE said if it had not been for Niel Harper. And this government has lied to us so many times. Why would we believe them now? Why would we even think of believing them now, when they have lied so much to us? But let's just watch a little bit here, what to do if your data, something is wrong with your data. Okay, just let's watch a little bit, and then we discuss. Go ahead, Dave.
So there have been plenty of reports in the news lately about large-scale data breaches caused by everything from clever hacking to poor security practices to somebody just leaving a flash drive lying around. But once everyone's email addresses, passwords, and credit card numbers get stolen, what actually happens to all that information? I mean, is there just like a Walmart for cyber criminals where they go to buy your personal information at rollback prices? And if your information is indeed part of a massive breach, how do you find out? What are the appropriate precautions? So, one thing that's helpful in understanding what happens after a data breach is to realize the sheer scope of many of them. It's not uncommon for these breaches to affect tens of millions of people at once, and sometimes even more. So that means that it isn't particularly easy for an individual user to search through large databases of stolen information, especially considering the sorts of places that information ends up. Oftentimes, this data actually will appear on dark web markets that require special software to access them, where it is indeed bought and sold by cybercriminals hoping to rack up fraudulent charges, drain someone's bank account, or even commit outright identity theft. Now, you can learn more about the dark web here, but it turns out that this isn't the only place where personal data can appear. In fact, sometimes it'll show up in a much more public pastebin site. What's a pastebin site, you might ask? Well, it's kind of the digital equivalent of the inside of a bathroom stall wall. They're designed for anyone to just dump a large amount of data as plain text. And these things can be great for folks like coders who want others to check their code for errors, or, just anyone who needs a place to quickly jot down non-sensitive information. In recent years, though, some pastebin sites have become hotbeds for stolen data procured from data breaches. Now, some of this data is put there by hacktivists who don't seek to make much, if any, money off of their exploits, while other leaks are partially dumped to pastebin sites by attackers as a free sample of a larger data set that they expect to get paid for on one of the aforementioned darknet markets. And while anyone can bring up data that's dumped to a pastebin, it's not exactly easy for the average consumer to go hunt for their credentials one by one after they heard about the latest big data breach on the news. There is good news, though. There are easier ways to keep tabs on your logins and passwords. There are services that try to catalog darknet leaks and that automatically detect when large data dumps appear on pastebins, then organize them into databases and save them, even if the original data gets taken down. One of the best known of these services is Have I Been Pwned, which works by having you enter your email address, which it then checks against a database of billions of leaked account records to see if you've been affected by a breach. Have I Been Pwned uses a bot to monitor pastebin sites for new submissions containing credentials and passwords. It offers email notifications if the site finds your info in a recent breach, and it also allows users to enter their own passwords to check against the database as well. Which sounds like a terrible idea, but don't worry. Have I Been Pwned employs an algorithm that keeps your passwords secure when you test them by hashing them, then only sending the first 5 characters of the hash to a server that contains the database of known breached passwords. After any matching hashes are found, they're sent back to your PC, which can then determine if your entire hash password is the same as any of the passwords found in the database. If you don't know what a hash is, by the way, you can learn all about them right up here. This functionality has actually also been built into some password managers, which can even tell you if your credentials have been found in a recent data dump. So that's cool, but then what if you follow these steps?
Okay, so this is getting real technical, but what I'm saying to us is that, I keep saying to us, nobody's coming to save us. And so I thought that if I could not get Niel Harper to come on the show tonight, at a minimum, I could do some research and to bring some information to us on what to do. Those of you, I'm going to ask Dave to put the link of this this video there in the comment section. One of the things that it has said that you could do is just to try to change your passwords. At a minimum, try to change your passwords. And this is the kind of information that really should be coming out of the government, because it happened in their watch. They should be telling us step by step what it is that we need to do. But go ahead and look in the chat. You will see the YouTube video there, and you can watch it and see if you can get some of the software, etc., that they're talking about. But at a minimum, try to change your password on your your various devices. And notice something that they said, if you're, it is possible to beef up your security. It is possible. I've been doing my research and I realize it's possible. And that is what Niel Harper was trying to say to Barbados. Prepare, prepare, because these kinds of things are going to happen. I mean, we're now seeing that they are using, I want Dave to put that video. Dr. Ferdinand, is there anything you want to say on this video before I play the next one? No, you're muted.
Yeah, no, I was saying that someone was asking, what do you do when your data has been breached? And that, I think that video was really helpful, at least for the bit that we got. And in terms of beefing up, changing your passwords, we have systems that change the passwords all the time. And that you can get in and they will send you the information, that type of thing. Some of them I've been using, and sometimes simple passwords are some of the best in the world to use. And I've spoken with cyber experts on this. I had a good friend in Grand Cayman who was a security expert for Flow in Grand Cayman, and he was sharing with me some of the ways to make sure that you're even when you're breached, what to do. And how to protect yourself, protect your bank account. But Marcia, I just wanted to say quickly, could you imagine if we had gone ahead with the Barbados digital ID, what that would have meant with our banking information being tied to our digital ID cards?
Yeah, well, yeah, I still have my old ID,
Oh,
but
so do I.
thank you so much,
Bless you.
Dr. Ferdinand. But I want to show you something here, because we saw Mrs. Corbyn showed us where the Prime Minister was criticizing Israel, and this is not. I'm not here trying to determine which side of the fence. In fact, I don't even discuss that issue really. But I want to say to us, there's something a lot of people saying, could it be a retaliation because of what the Prime Minister said at the UN? And I want to say to you, it's a possibility. It's a plausible idea. Why I say that? I remember at the beginning of COVID, I was doing my show, and at that time I used to do it on Zoom, Dr. Ferdinand. And I had a rabbi, a black rabbi, on my show, and I know some of you might remember. And she was from the U.S. and she was doing a teaching on the show about black people being the real Jews. Again, I'm bringing this up not for you to determine whether you want to say black people are the Jews or they're not. I'm telling you a story about what happened to me on that show. Okay. So she was doing this teaching about it, and she was using the history of Africa and saying, that that the black people are the Hebrews and so on and so forth. And you know what happened, viewers? While on that show, radical Jews came into the Zoom and they took over the Zoom from me, literally. They took over the Zoom and they started to call me a nigger. They were writing it in capital, nigger, 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 nigger. They were writing in the chat on Zoom. I lost all control. They were showing themselves, showing their private parts. They were writing in a different language sometimes, and they took over the program. Anybody remember that? Anybody out there were following me from all those years back when I was doing the program on Zoom? And you know what? When we got off of there and of the program, I spoke to her. I said, this has never happened to me before. She said, well, Marcia, what happens, because I am speaking about the Jews, what they do, they follow me around wherever I'm speaking, and they do that. Right? That's their retaliation. Okay? Again, somebody saying black people are the real Jews. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that there are some radical people out there. And regardless of where they're from, we have radical black people, radical Jews, radical whites, radical whatever. And they decided that that show was not going to go on because of the content of the show. And I'm saying to us that it is not far-fetched that that could have happened. As I was researching today, I found out that hacking is right now being used as a tool of war in any army, any of those big armies, whether it's Russia, Israel, the US, whichever the army. There is a department within the army that deals with hacking as a weapon of war. You hear what I tell you? So I want you to just watch a little bit of this before we have, because I want to bring information to you. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of this.
So by the end of the early 2000s, after Stuxnet, it truly was the beginning of a new era of cyber warfare. In 2012, Chinese-backed hackers broke into the computer systems of over a dozen oil and gas companies. There was an investigation, and the FBI and Homeland Security concluded that the attack wasn't to steal anything or even to sabotage the infrastructure, but rather to, quote, gain strategic access for future operations, meaning to gain leverage over the United States. Investigators said that this was the first time that they had seen anything like this. That same year, an Iranian hacker group attacked Saudi Arabia, Iran's enemy, using a cyber weapon that is kind of like a digital bomb. It was a virus called Shamoon, and it got into the computers of Saudi Arabia's state oil company, wiping their hard drives clean. This thing spread across the company's networks, ultimately wiping data from tens of thousands of computers and rendering them totally inoperable. A huge blow to the company. In 2015, a huge cyber attack occurred when the Russian hacking group Sandworm shut off the power to 250,000 Ukrainians by gaining control of the computers that ran the power stations. This is actual footage of them remotely controlling these stations' computers.
They used a piece of automated malware to do that, which is a sign that they will probably want to use that again. That looked like a kind of practice rounds to develop a capability that they wanted to have to use globally.
This set a new precedent. People theoretically knew that cyber weapons could be used against electricity grids, which is like the lifeblood of our economy and society, but it hadn't actually happened until this 2015 attack. These are just a few examples, but they're examples that show how cyber weapons became employed in a war context between countries. It wasn't just hackers trying to steal money. It was countries trying to hurt their enemy, trying to demonstrate their capabilities, to deter their enemy, to let them know that they have power over them. A tool of war, of national power. And indeed, in 2010, the US acknowledged this very overtly by adding the US Cyber Command as a new department to the military. Cyber war was here, and it was here to stay.
Today, we face threats that have increased in sophistication, magnitude, intensity, volume, and velocity.
But here's what's crazy is that these aren't weapons. These aren't like missiles where a country has a monopoly over buying and using them. Cyber weapons are just bits of code. They're text files that are really small and easy to transfer around. So what happens when a cyber weapon developed by a military gets into the hands of everyone and they can use it however they want? Well, that's exactly what happened in 2016.
The DNC has called the FBI after a deleting attempt to hack into voter databases.
During the 2016 presidential election, the US was hit with a barrage of cyber attacks. This included the hacking of emails of the Democratic Party, a misinformation campaign on social media, and even an attempted hack of voter registration databases in several states. American intelligence agencies came together, they investigated, and they concluded that this was Russia. It was Russian hackers that were supported and directed by the Russian government itself. And the goal was to sabotage the American electoral system.
The Russians were responsible for hacking the DNC.
This was like a frenzy here in the United States. Like everyone was talking about it. It was a huge deal. But in the middle of all of this, a post quietly appears on GitHub from a user by the name of the Shadow Brokers. This was a few months before the election. It was a tense time for a lot of reasons. They claimed that they had super powerful cyber weapons from the American
But
government's most
we
elite
could
cyber
pause
war
there
group,
again.
the
Dave,
ones who
we could
created
pause there.
Stuxnet,
Thank
and
you,
that they
Dave.
would sell these hacking weapons to the highest.
What we could do, once again, those of you who want, I think it's very fascinating. Those of you who want to learn more about it, you can go ahead. Dave, if you put the link there, remember this is about education as well. So we understand what is happening and the possibilities. And later, I mean, in the evening, we saw a report came out. I think it's Barbados today. I'm looking for it, that said that these were Russians. Right, it was Russians who they're saying that hacked our database here in Barbados. And one of the things I want you to notice about when the information came out about the hackers, do you remember that it said we got the niggers, LOL? Do you remember Barbados? Think about it. I want you to think now. Some of you are just typing. Think. Remember what it said? What did it
Yep.
say? Let me look for it, and I want to
It
read
says,
the
"We got
exact
the
thing that it
niggers."
said. Huh?
It said, "We got the niggers."
It says, we got the niggers, LOL. So
That's
we
correct.
got the niggers. It's not, that sounds to me, Dr. Ferdinand, I was saying to Dave, but we can discuss it. It sounds to me that somebody's trying to get at you. Is there some revenge? And look at what they call the niggers. And so I don't know. I'm just putting this information for us to think about it. Could it be possible that it's because Mia Mottley stood up in the UN and spoke like that about Israel, that this is happening? Is it possible?
I think there was also the matter, Marcy, you've gone muted. Your mic went off. But I
My
think it's
mic went off. Can you hear me
just
now?
for a moment. Yeah, we're hearing you now. But I think
Okay.
also, Marcio, you remember she also took a swipe at Russia and Ukraine, Russia with regards to its invasion of Ukraine. I'm looking at the databreach.net, and they're confirming in the databreach.net that according to a post on a well-established Russian language forum, there are 230 gigabytes of uncompressed data that includes driver's license, social identification, and legal documents such as vehicle registration. I'm looking at it in front of me. A Russian language forum this area, our forum is called PRYX, PRYX.
And can I just say to you, Dr. Ferdinand, when it was remember I said that they were writing in a different language.
Yes.
And when I got off, I asked her, and there was a gentleman from Trinidad, and they told me that these were Russian Jews that came into the program just to break up the program. So you know, a lot of what am I saying? I'm saying that it is very possible that this prime minister forgot that she was the leader of a dot. She was a leader of a dot, one dot, a pin.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right, Marcia.
And could she have allowed her ambitions? Because we have already established that she does not care anything about Barbados. She doesn't wear the pin on her. Okay? And could it be that she has jeopardized all of us, her own ambitions? Speaking like she owns the UN, or the way she was speaking. You know? So is it that she jeopardized all of us, her own ambitions? And now our data, could it be? Could it be, again, as I said, she forgot. Yes, you're the leader of a country, but your country is a dot.
And indeed it is. You know, I've been into several international forums, Marcia, and I can tell you, I've been into Canada, I've been into the United States. I remember in England, the people always used to ask me, even during my passing through on my way to my training for BMW, people used to ask me, what part of Jamaica is Barbados? Nobody knew about Barbados. And when I went into most of the maps, I would not forget going into one of the training sessions in the UK with a gigantic map of the world that every single operational facility for BMW was listed on. and Barbados was not on it. I mean, Barbados, Marcy, was not on the map. I don't mean that the pin for BMW wasn't in Barbados. Barbados was not on the map. And I used to have to go up to the maps and tell them, well, this is where Barbados is. And literally a dot. And you are going to stand in the United Nations. I have no problems with, like you said, I'm not going to be debating the pros and the cons and who's on what side and who's on the other side. But you are a little dot, and you're going to get into the face of one of these big honchos and chastise them. And incidentally, Marcia, I've heard a lot of people talking about her trying to prepare herself to be the lead in the United Nations. Let me remind the people of Barbados that the lead in the United Nations is selected by the 5 Security Council individuals. There's a in Security Council grouping of five with 2 permanent members, Russia and China. The United States, Australia, and I can't remember the 5th. UK. UK is the 5th one. And there only 2 of them are permanent. And it only needs the veto of 1 of the permanent members for the UN Consul General, or whoever he is, the lead person of the UN, for that person to be dismissed. Now, you are trying to position yourself for that role, and you're going to be critical of Mr. Putin. Now, I'm not suggesting that what Mr. Putin is doing is correct and should not be criticized or anything of the sort. What I am saying is that if you step into the kitchen, be prepared to take the heat. And unfortunately, what happens, Marcia, is that the Barbadian public is who gets the heat of what happens.
Actually, you're so right. Actually, there is someone just sent this to me from a Christian website, international Christian website, actually called The King is Coming. And they are criticizing the Prime Minister of Barbados and saying that she misquoted the Bible. That the scripture, she misquoted a scripture in Romans. And this is what you set yourself up to. And as a person said, remember who misquoted that when the devil was tempting Jesus, he went and he misquoted the Bible.
Correct.
Right? Right? And right. So she misquoted the Bible when she talked about the scripture here. I'm looking for it. We walk
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I shall repay. That is the statement she said.
Not just that one, not that too. She took that out of context.
Yes.
But there's another scripture where she talked about, apparently she spoke about walking by sight.
You mean we walk by faith and not by sight?
Where she says you're walking by sight. So I will send it. I'll send it on to you. I send it on to you. What they're saying, and this is now all over, because when she does things like that, people are going to start to fact check you. Yeah, people are going to start to fact check you. All right,
especially on the international market. On
Correct.
The international arena, they are going to fact check you because there are people supporting either side, and they are going to do so in order to either be critical of you or be commendable of you, and so
Correct.
you're going to be fact checked.
So yeah.
And may I remind the people of Barbados, she's not a minister of religion. She might be minister of ecclesiastical affairs, which I think is still under the portfolio of the Prime Minister's office. I believe so. But she's not a minister of religion. She doesn't have a clue as to how to interpret scripture, how to decipher scripture. She doesn't have a clue. And to get into the environment of the UN, to tell the Jewish people about their heritage and their ancestry, etc., unless you have studied the history of the Jewish people from a biblical perspective from which she is quoting, it's best to keep your mouth shut when it comes to the biblical matter.
You're so right. You're so right. But let me just ask anybody. We've been talking all night. This is your time. It's 9:16. It's your time, Dr. Ferdinand. You've stayed on with me a long time tonight.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask people.
It's the longest 10 minutes I know.
Yeah. call in. Those of you who are able to call in, the number is on the screen. We want to hear from you. I'm hoping that my system is working tonight. So please call in. Right. So somebody's saying, right, she's talking about we walking by sight, because she doesn't know the Bible, and she decided to quote scriptures and quote it back ways. Yeah. So the screen is there, folks. We so tonight we spoke about we were talking about, did the government lie? Did it lie about the cyber security issue? Did it lie about what happened there at Dighton Griffith School when it talks about, what they said, it was a sharp object, like it was a protractor, somebody said, or a pencil.
No,
It
it
was a
wasn't.
big
It was a
old cutlass.
cutlass.
It was a Collins
That's
that
correct.
the child had, right? Right? Someone should have taken the window, bra, so they won't see inside. Oh my Lord! But folks, yes, okay. There's a call. Okay, so good night. Can you turn down your device, please? Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you.
Yes, good night. We can hear you. Can you hear Dr. Ferdinand?
Yes, I can.
Yes, go right ahead. Welcome. Go right ahead.
Thank you. As Dr. Ferdinand was speaking about the website databreaches.net, can you hear me?
Yes, we're
Yes,
hearing
we can.
you.
Go right ahead.
Loud and clear.
As Dr. Ferdinand was speaking about the website databreaches.net, I went onto it, and there is written Barbados Revenue Agency funds listed for sale by actors.
Correct. So we you that's it, because she went and checked and it's right there. But
Yes.
they were telling us that it's just the motor vehicle, right?
That's right. Are you still there, caller?
It just said Barbados Revenue Agency funds listed for sale by actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you're just confirming it. So that's what we want people to do. We say stuff on here, go and check it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just and following it, continuing below it lists all of the information that has come in from the individuals who
Right.
actually hacked into
Yeah.
the system. It's all there.
Yes.
And the data breaches those are not the people who hacked. Those are the people who reached out or who were reached by the people who hacked it. Okay, and if you go further down, you'll see Dr. Breaches was provided with some additional details and proof by a spokesman from the seller, PRYX Bricks.
Yes.
Prikes, yes.
Yes. Let me just ask. Yeah, go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
But Marcia and Ferdy, are you all not interested in the part that says that the funds are listed for sale by actors?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Let me just ask her. So, as a citizen of Barbados, and you see that on there, you've done business with Bra. How does that make you feel?
But insecure.
You feel insecure.
Yes. With the information that they have on all Barbadians. Right. On the screen, that's the page I went to. You scroll down and you will see it.
Yes. And so they're trying to trivialize it, as Kim is saying, that it's just a license plate. So thank God for Niel Harper, who, decided to let the people know that, no, it's not true. So let me ask you something, caller. My goodness, as you said, it makes you feel insecure. How do you feel that the Prime Minister speaks at the UN without having the flag as a lapel pin?
I'm not surprised.
I know you're not surprised, but I want to know, how does it, as a Barbadian, how does that make you feel?
no one cares about us. She doesn't care about us.
Yeah. And that is what got me upset, because I know that a lot of people, they really believed in her or still believe in her, and to see what is happening, right now. Well, is there anything else you wanted to say to us? I think the call dropped. The call dropped.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so guys, you can call in. We want to hear your thoughts on the data breach. You want to hear your thoughts on the students, the violence in schools, all the knives and the machete and the whole thing. So if you want to call in, please do that. The number is right there on the screen, and so please call in. Okay, there's a caller. Good night, caller.
Good night. Good night.
Yes, good night. How are you doing?
Yes. I'm. You know me. I'm gonna just be very to the point. Now, a country that has a prime minister that is. Let's get straight to the point. She's not poor. She's extremely wealthy. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yes.
Meeting with all types of unthinkably wealthy people from all over the world. You think that with that clout, or what do you want to call it, that one should ensure that home drums, as it relates to the resources in terms of cybersecurity or whatever it be, is at a stage or state that is in keeping with the same what's the word now, level of or stature of the friends that you walk with and rub shoulders with. This is not like rubbing shoulders, from parish to parish. This is not rubbing shoulders. This is ensuring that the same talk that you are talking on the international stage should be matching at home. And so you see, this is just but the tip of the iceberg to show that the hot talk you would hear emanating. It's just not matching. You see, I don't know what you can do as a set of as a station, or not a station, a program, but the international media has to know, with a capital H, that what our dear PM is saying on the international stage is not matching back at home. Whatever you have to do to get it done, it has to be done. Because I am telling you, 15,000 plus people marching and jumping and screaming in Bridgetown to literally take a government down to its knees cannot be for nothing. And know that you got what you wanted and get more than what you expected. It cannot be just business as usual. You see even in the schools the same nonsense is going on. It cannot be business as usual with all that power.
Yes, and caller, what? Yeah, we're here. And caller, what she also doesn't understand. I'm sure you've heard of an organization globally called the Cabal. She cannot get into the area of the Cabal. The Cabal, the Cabal are the ultimate. The ultimate. You have to be a particular element to be in there, not just in the context of wealth, but many other components. And she's being used as a pawn. She doesn't even realize it. Even if you develop wealth and you can get your country's wealth, what is happening right now? She's being used, and she's so blind in the pursuit of what she wants that she cannot even see that she's being used by these people. You're talking about people who decide who's going to govern in the United States, and when a president gets into the United States, who dictate to that president what he does and what he does not do. That is the president of one of the most powerful nations in the world, caller. So what do you think about Barbados?
Yes.
Well, I think it is time that the country starts dealing in this BLP, DLP, BSP, whatever, and understand that it is the country's survival at hand versus those or what is not really focusing on their survival.
That's right. That's right.
That
Country's
is so
survival
true.
is at risk.
We need, it's about time that the country says, you know what, this is not a, this is no longer about just BLP, DLP.
No.
Our forefathers did not suffer to the death, to the, some work to the, from, as I said, sunrise to sunset. To know us, the you know, the offspring, to suffer under kindred political operatives. No, it cannot happen.
Correct. We need to.
Cannot happen.
Yeah, and that's my view on it. We have to have some self-respect, and we've got to decide that this is our country, and we're taking it back. You know, and when is enough enough? You know, when are we going to say that's it? You know, when I so agree with you, caller.
I'll go on this last minute. Do not be surprised if you see manic, the word MANIC, manic movements to rush that cybercrime bill in aid, hoping that, you know, when they release it, the people are waking up, try to rush it beyond its course. But I can tell you for a fact, let them call the elections, because they don't think that they understand that the people already had enough. Enough is enough. People had enough.
And you know, you're very right, caller. And then when I think, I was saying today, you know, this evening, can you imagine, you know, caller, that they are pushing this cybercrime bill and ready to lock us up, right? And here you have a cyber attack that is now demanding a ransom from them. They can't lock them up for 10 years in prison, and they can't charge them 100,000. But this is cybercrime. This is a real cybercrime that they should be, you know, beefing up so that we don't, you know, we're not exposed. But no, they're ready to lock up their citizens for speaking their minds. Isn't that an irony?
Well, I can tell you, the little children in secondary school or primary school, if they watch Scooby-Doo and not Scrappy-Doo, we surely wouldn't want Scrappy-Doo going to speak to the nations. When they say Scrappy-Doo, you know when Scrappy-Doo says, let me at him. You remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Right? So if that is what is at hand here now, we are really, really, you see, because people in the world, they don't understand. They hear some person stringing a lot of sweet words together. It's, ooh, this person sounds pretty. But they don't live. It's just what's going on in Guyana right now. You have Guyana with millions of dollars monthly, and electricity is not consistent in that country. Billions of dollars, you know. So Barbados has to wake up and understand that it cannot be for what you call excommunication. Oh, this person didn't like me anymore. To hell with that. You know, our forefathers didn't die and was mistreated. For us, the offspring, to just sit down and say, okay, this person may not like me anymore, or this person may not speak to me anymore. So what? The survival of a country comes first.
Yes.
And she can, you know, that's all I have to say. The survival of a country comes first. That's the summary of it.
Yes. Thank you so much, caller. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
But you know, Marcia, this is what the shift that occurred early last week in the United Nations facilitated. The United Nations moved from a gathering of nations for the development of countries to being the governing body of nations. And in that context, Marcia, in the event of another global emergency, they will have the power to shut down bank accounts. They will have the power to prevent you from driving on roads. These are the things that Mia Motley signed Barbados onto.
Correct. Yeah.
And
we have a caller
yes,
there, Dr. Ferdinand. Good night, caller.
Blessed good night to you, Marcia, and the loyal opposition.
Yes, good night, sir. Good night. Thank you for calling the Marcia Week Show.
Yes, please. I have some things that I would like us to take note. The scripture said, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. What I am noticing is that all leaders now are being chosen for how evil they are. There's no integrity now. You're not choosing leaders because of integrity. You're choosing them because of how wicked and how evil they are. And we are actually bringing destruction on ourselves when we go down this road. there was a time where when people want to kill babies, that was a no-no. But now people killing babies and you're voting for them. God is not mocked, and we are going to pay the penalty very seriously when we have no integrity for our own selves, and we are going to choose people who we know have a very bad background. And I believe this is what is actually going to happen. We are pushing people who are wicked up in the air, and the ones who are full of integrity, we are pulling them down. But whatever you sow, you're going to reap.
Going to read. Thank you so much,
Thank
caller.
you so
Very
very
well
much.
said.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
well
you.
said. We
Yes.
have another caller coming up. Thank you so very much. Let me get to this to the other caller. Let me just see. Give me a moment. Yes. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the Marcy Wick Show.
Victor
Yes.
Young here.
Yes, sir. Good night. How are you doing?
Victor Young here.
Good,
Yes,
yeah, good night,
Mr.
Victor.
Young. Good night. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm fantastic.
Okay, good to hear you.
Now, what I want to say, I call the assistant to the minister for Abbey area, which is Christchurch and the Prize, right? To let them know that there's a annoyance, there's a vacant property with a house and so forth, which is for sale. I told them that it is causing a lot of problems. People are going in there, mosquitoes are breathing. Now, they give me the impression they didn't know where the place is. So I say, how you cannot know where the place is when you are the assistant to the representatives here? And anyhow, he told me he will send the message. But he couldn't fool me because when I checked with the people, they said nobody of such a name send any information to the ministry. Now I call the Oystons area, which is responsible for the Christchurch area. He gave me the name of an inspector. They said they don't have that particular name of the inspector there. I said, you have a name of the assistant person, which I called by name to the representative area. They said, no, only two people would have called about that. That is me and another guy named Andrew Mosley. But it's amazing that one of the same people who belong to the party, she can't get past the road because she can't scratch up a yard. Did you tell the representative? She just shake her head because nobody wants to let these people know that they're fooling people. Now, the problem is they do not have inspectors. The health inspectors are short.
Really? So
Hello?
you're saying they don't have enough health inspectors in Barbados?
That's right. This is why people are complaining all the time, but they would not come out and tell people. The health inspectors were calling for people, more people. They particularly they ignore them. Then there are some people who live down the same area say they haven't seen a health inspector for nearly 10 years. Now, when I talk to the health inspectors there at the Oystons, they say they're short. We don't have sufficient here. And the chief inspector, he's on holiday. I said, but mosquitoes are breathing. And these same people, the same minister who tell that the place is clean up or not, you got to pay money, clapping the chest. But they're saying it all about the place. But they don't want to come in their constituency and say anything because they realize they will lose votes. So they won't make people believe everything is going wrong. They never come out and tell people that they don't have inspectors. They didn't come out and tell you about that they're shortage of health inspectors, and you got places where mosquitoes are growing. And they couldn't fool me because I was a former health inspector when it was anymore. So I would know what is happening. So they're just trying to fool you. So I told them straight, if you don't know the area, I hope at election time that you won't know the area either. Because I got no apologies, and I'm saying to people, this particular government is a fooling people. people's government. They're fooling people. And they've got some of their puppy cops, or you call them yard foes or yard cops, whatever you call them, just going around with what they're saying. Some of these yard cops and foul cops, whatever you call them, they're suffering badly, but they're so ashamed. They don't want to come out and say anything because they want to give the impression that look good, because what they got on a t-shirt that mark the party, that's how they know, that's how their mentality. And they can get Niel Harper. That's how they become. A lot of these same politicians make a lot of people beggars. When they can come and pay a bill and things, become a beggar. So you can't come out and say anything, because a fellow feeding you, how you can come out and say anything? They're not independent. You see, that's the kind of thing that is going on in this country. And a lot of these politicians, and one of the things that I tell you, anytime you're complaining to any of the areas that these people belong to, I find that they carry a very aggressive mood. I just want to say something about this stuff, and you call like any of the departments, and you start to, they carry this aggressive move. Like when they call the headquarters at the BLP, and they start to ask with the particular number you can get the particular representative. We cannot give you that. I don't know you can't give me that, but if it was the time to get the extra with you would got it on my telephones quick, right? So they carry a very aggressiveness in them. If you listen to all of them who talk, you see them carry that aggressiveness. But you see, these particular MPs or whatever you call them, they cannot come out and say anything because they're schoolboys, right? The particular leader has them as schoolboys. You know, whenever they're saying anything, they say, the leader say this. They never say that they say this or do anything. They don't have any initiative. They're not able. They're schoolboys.
Yes.
So that is what you're getting about in this country all the time with this particular administration. I'm talking about they care about the elderly. A lot of these same people who care about, they care about the elderly. Ask them how they treat their own fathers when they were in the same positions. Ask them how they treat the same fathers were fighting for the, because the fathers ain't got anything to say. A lot of these people who walk about no kind of food and things, who they care for the elderly. Ask a lot of them how they treat the same fathers.
Yes. Well, you know, Mr. Young,
Yes.
thank you so much for calling, because there's someone here, who, probably I think might be in the health profession, saying that they only have 75 health inspectors for the entire island, and they need 225.
Yeah, but but they will fool you, and as I said, not you will follow what they say. If the same guy Thorne, you know what he lives there. He had his conscience, and every human being got a conscience. He realized that I can't sit down here and see what you all are doing all the time and stomach it, because he know what they were doing. And if a lot of the rest who claim they can stomach it would come out and speak, they would understand. But you see, they can't do it because there's nowhere for them to go. They would like some of them that tell themselves brilliant lawyers. They know brilliant lawyers, they got this thing stuck I don't want to them. So they got to stick around there where they can make the money. They're only concerned because this particular administration is only concerned in money. Money.
Yes.
Money is
I
their
just said
thing.
she wants money. But thank you so much, caller, for calling and bringing that to our attention.
And don't hide it, because I ain't got no secret. There's no, my name is a household name.
I know.
I am not afraid of none of them, because they ain't got no secrets for me.
Everybody, this is Victor Young, who has called us. Thank you so much, Victor Young, for
Thank you, Victor.
for being on the program tonight, for calling and enlightening us. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Right.
Good. Can you imagine that? There's 75 health inspectors and 225 is what's needed. Actually, somebody told me that they went to renew their driver's license and they did not even have they couldn't laminate. You know how they not laminate the driver's license? They had to just type a letter and print it to them and said, we don't have the facility, we don't have the equipment to laminate. You believe that? This is the Barbados that we live in, and this is that we see the Prime Minister on the world stage like we are, we're just prospering here and all is, nice and dandy, So, yeah, but quite interesting. Okay, there's another call here. Okay, caller, welcome. Could you turn down your device? Thank you, caller. Good night and welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Hi, good night, Marcia. Good night, Pastor Ferdy and all.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, hi. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, we
we're
can.
hearing you well.
Good. Yeah, what that guy said about the PLA costs is true. They don't have much of those officers around now. One thing I used to see a lot of them, but now they don't have a lot of them. This current administration has cut back on a lot of things that would probably help the country and help young people, like the lacking of parole officers, the lacking of peer and guidance counselors and guidance teachers. There's a big lacking of that. And I know this is a pet peeve for Pastor Ferdinand in his area because he was big on that back in his day as a pastor at the cathedral. I know that he feels very strongly about this, and that can use as a vehicle to help turn down some of this aggressiveness we see our young people. Look what happened today at the schools. Parents had to be, Marcia, parents had to be standing outside and being told they can't collect their children. I mean, these things are ridiculous. And the Ministry of Education continues to hide behind this curtain of the PN before standing on their two legs. So I don't mind what Mr. Young just said, that they're a bunch of schoolboys. They're lacking of a testicular fortitude. They don't have it. The ball sack seems to be empty.
Yeah.
So,
so what do we do now? What do we do now? That's the thing. What are we going to do?
Well, what we can do is what we continuously do. The marches that a lot of people try to cry down that you do, and I admire you from the very first day you did it. We need to continue to apply pressure, and I believe the more pressure that yourself, Pastor Ferdinand, and the young lady, I can't remember her name now, who I love to hear talk, Rose, I think that's her name, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yes, and the rest of the guy, my good comrade Kimar, and all of us, myself included, the more pressure we apply, they have to break somewhere, because there are solutions to this problem, enormous. There are solutions. But when solutions are given, do they take them? You've offered solutions. Pastor Ferdinand has offered solutions. But unless it has their own spin on it, they don't want to hear nothing. So this is a result of not wanting to work together. It's not about BDX or Y.
Right. Well, thank you so much, caller. Unfortunately, I have somebody here calling again. But thank you so much for your comment. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm just, Pastor Ferdinand. I mean, this as the caller was saying. There are solutions that have been offered.
Well, when you consider the situation that occurred at BRA, Marcia, Niel offered several solutions, and they have been ignored. Is that your caller on?
Yes, I'm not getting that. Yeah.
Getting, yeah. I just wanted to make one quick point, Marcia, concerning this breach and, the comments that the Prime Minister made in Parliament to the Prime Minister of Israel and to the President of Russia. I'm reminded you, and I know you would be aware of that, but Israel just technologically blew up cell phones, pagers and other devices, killing a whole set of leaders of Hamas through technology. You know, if I was the
Yes.
prime minister, I would keep my phone far from my
You
body.
see that? But we have a
Have a caller?
caller. We have a
Yes.
caller on the line. Good night, sir. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Good night to everybody.
Good
And
Yes.
you guys are doing a very marvelous show. I just want to get right to the point.
Yes.
I'm very concerned with the learning institutions in Barbados, for any churches, the schools, because they don't teach the people true politics or true economics. And most people are focusing on getting up in the morning, going to work, and fighting to actually basically get food, but don't have a greater future ahead of that paycheck because it's so small. And reality speaking, nothing is free. But we find a lot of people coming here claiming that they're doing business for the benefits of Barbadians. And every time we have a big investment, we don't see no return from it. We have enough taxes that we can collect from the foreign investors that come here and invest in villas, whatever, business, whatever, take care of the infrastructure, the civil service and the infrastructure of Barbados. If you do the calculation of the mass, we have enough money in Barbados. We don't have to be going through what we're going through right now. This is just the brains to our needs.
Yes.
Not necessary.
Yes.
And we can't bring the next generation up just believing in music and working it. We cannot have our main leaders promoting this sort of music that is the hidden main recipe for generations and generations coming up. Yes, behaving ridiculous. When we look at these successes countries around the world, very few of them carry these sort of behaviors that got a society that you don't have more tomorrow, hands down low. All you could do is curse, talk, teach the children about the new type of how business is going through the digital form itself. We don't want to promote the digital evil world, but we want to use the tools to grow. We came at Barbados come through so much difficulties to have these people. We have opportunities now, and we can't have leaders throwing away the opportunity.
Yes. Yes.
So we can't take the people in to share information to better themselves and better the country. Censorship is a tool for weakness. Place people in a fight, people are asking questions. Thank you guys. Have a nice night.
Very well.
Thank you so much. Very well put.
Very well
Yes.
said. Thank you for
Thank you.
calling. Very well said.
I only said it good. I only said it good because you guys activate those words and those things out to me. I couldn't do it before you guys.
Oh wow.
And
God
people have to
bless
start
you.
looking at.
Thank you.
We have to start looking at party
Yes.
and look at these young kids here. These young kids gonna come up worse than us. We need to say. Listen, I want to say one more thing before I leave. Sorry
Yeah.
to be recipe.
Yes, because I have another caller coming up. Yes, go right ahead.
I just want to say something that will help the young generation. We have no facilities up here that the children go up on the evening and feel very happy about. Somehow people want us to feel, and it's not us. People get put in things for us to feel. The little kids have nowhere to go. They only go to certain places to eat a lot of sugar and grease. They want a place for nature for 2 years and 3 years that they can be happy, spend money in parks. You don't want children going to the park to get cut with galvanized. Create a new park for 2024. Give children something good to go play with. Thank you.
Wow.
Have a nice night.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you for calling. Yes. Yes, Dr. Ferdinand. Let me get this. Some of the callers are calling in, and so I have to call them back. Okay, so listen. Hello, good night.
Good night, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm calling a connection with the St. Catherine primary issue.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to say that, could you imagine, this is a little child, around 10 or 11, because the child is in class 4, I would imagine.
Yes.
And could you imagine the head teacher had that child in the office with the police officer, and the father is on the outside and could not get into the classroom. No, the police officer know that they shouldn't do that because the child is a minor.
Oh, so the police was with the child and the parents could not get in.
The parent could not get in. The child was on the outside.
That is
and the head teacher
nonsense. That is nonsense.
and the police, they were on the inside interrogating the child while the parents
should not be done in the absence of the parents. That should be.
Why are we allowing
They should
these
be
things?
no. That should be a lawsuit. That needs to be a lawsuit.
That is wrong.
That is very wrong.
That's what I thought to me. I've never studied law, so that's what I thought too. And they know that that is wrong, and they should not have done that.
That's correct.
Totally okay, but that head teacher, I don't know, she needs to be removed.
No, but they need to look into that. They need to look into that. I'm going to speak with Felicia DeJean. She's into human rights and so on. I'm going to speak to her, and she's pushing parental rights. Parents have to understand their rights. How could you have the police with a minor and the parent cannot do the same thing they did?
Exactly.
They did there at Dighton. They would not let the parents in. What do you think? Who pushed out these children? Who had them?
Exactly. And I'm not saying that the child is right for what the child did, but the bottom line is it's a child.
It's still a child.
It's a minor, and under no circumstances should anybody be interrogating or interviewing a child with the presence of his parent as a minor.
Exactly.
That is under the Constitution and laws of Barbados. I can't cite
gonna
it, but I know that.
I'm going to give you a call afterwards. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow. Okay? I'm making a note.
Thank you all so much.
Okay,
You're
thanks for
welcome.
letting us
Thank you, and
know.
have a good night.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too.
Yes.
God bless. Bye-bye. Wow. That's madness, Marcia.
Complete madness.
That's madness.
Yes, we have another caller. Good night, caller.
Yes, hi, good evening. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Yes,
we're
we
hearing
can,
you
sir.
clearly. Good to hear you.
Okay, great. Good night to you, the panel, as well as all listeners, both within Barbados and the diaspora.
Yes, sir. I know your voice. You're calling from the diaspora.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I'm calling. I want to make this call as short as possible, but to the point. Of course, we in the diaspora are keeping our eyes and ears to the ground on all that has been happening within the last 2 to 3 years. Since the government came into office for a second time. And I'm speaking from a law enforcement perspective. I think that a lot of things have gone south with regards to how things are being handled in Barbados, where the crime situation is concerned, right? I find that under this government, let me just make something abundantly clear. I am apolitical. So when I speak about government, I speak about government as a continuum.
Yes.
Or as a collective.
Yes.
Okay. I lend my support robustly with this government when this government was in opposition. So I was one of the people in Bridgetown marching up and down like the Duke of York and the hot boys and advocating for justice and fairness for those persons who would have been victims of crimes back in that time when the Democratic Party government was in power.
Yes.
So now that this government came to power in 2018, where I was one of the persons who voted in favor of this government,
okay,
I recognize that many things that they said they were going to do during the march, in fact, a lot of things that were declared on that Saturday, which in the month of March 2017, a lot of things are still not yet checked or checked off. And a lot of things are still outstanding where the crime situation in Barbados is concerned. Now, I find that to be one, very disingenuous to the people of Barbados. I find it to be very I think it's loyal, right? And it is not in keeping with the promises that they would have made to the electorate prior to coming into office in 2018.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And as a person who would have suffered the loss of a brother due to gun violence,
Oh, really?
I feel passionately. There's nobody that could talk to me about gun violence more than me, because one, I on both spectrums. I'm speaking from a position as a former law enforcement officer who is still very much in tune with law enforcement, right, on a day-to-day basis, and I'm also speaking as the sibling of a brother who was cut down in the prime of his youth. At 33 or 34 or something.
My
He died.
condolences. I've been wanting to do a segment on the show with the diaspora, so I will be calling you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So when I speak, right, I'm not speaking because I'm up in arms with anybody or any organization. I'm speaking from my experience and the horrors that it can put a family through.
Yes.
Right? Over time. And the mental fatigue that family members can go through when their family members are cut down due to the crime situation over time, right?
Yes.
And so again, this government has a lot of questions to be answered, or should I say that are still outstanding.
Yes.
This government has a right, and sometimes it almost boils my blood that this Barbadian community is excessively silent on matters that should concern them.
Yeah.
I don't know what has inspired or what transaction has taken place prior to the 2018 election and post the 2018 elections. But I find that the more Bajans become more intellectually savvy, it seems as though they have lost their own minds to think for themselves and to see things for what they are. Right? So I find it outrageously wrong that so many things are happening on the ground in Barbados, right? Especially the escalation of crime and violence, right? Which a mockery was made of that under the late David Thompson, right? And I have lived long enough to see how his declaration has not fallen on deaf ears.
Yes.
Right? And because he saw into the future. I believe he saw into the future what was about to happen if this situation was not brought under control, or the net of the illegal firearms trade wasn't broken. As we can see that everything is being discussed.
Yes.
About the crime situation, the youngsters. Let's pray for this. We got to pray for that and pray for the next and third.
Yeah.
Political football, but yes, still nobody is speaking to the preconditioning issues.
Yes.
Everybody is touching what is the presenting issues.
Yes.
Oh, the young boys need employment. Listen, hold on a second though. There are islands that are the same size of Barbados in the Pacific, in the Atlantic, the Oceanic, other parts of the globe, right? That are either the same geographical size with populations that are twice and sometimes 10 times the size of Barbados, and they have crime under control.
Oh, correct.
That's right.
Furthermore, their borders are not even porous.
Exactly. But you know what
Right?
I'm going to do, caller? I want to publicly invite you. I don't know what your schedule is like for Friday, because Friday I want to feature some of those in the diaspora to be on the show on Friday. I want to pick your brain a bit more, so we will talk off air. But I thank you so much for calling.
It's a pleasure.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay,
Yes.
bye-bye.
Thank you. We have
You're welcome.
another caller from the diaspora who is going to be calling now. But what I want to say is that the information that the caller given us earlier about the principal, it's an allegation, and thank the person who called in to remind me to say that it's an allegation. It's been alleged it's being alleged that the principal, though the name wasn't mentioned, that the principal had the student in the office along with the police, and the parents was on the outside. So that's why I took the information as well to check it out. Okay. So I will speak to that person tomorrow and do my own research on that. Okay. So it's an allegation. So let's make that clear. But we have one more caller before we close tonight. Good night, caller.
Hello, how are you all doing there? I was just on WhatsApp and I saw the show was live and I saw some of the topics.
Yes,
But
so
you know,
we're
I
actually 10:02 p.m. So we're a little over. So we're we can have you on for like about 2 minutes because we're past the time. But when I realized it was you, I had to give you a call back. Good night. It's good to hear you.
Good night. So what I'm trying to say is that the taking over of the children have to do with Agenda 2030. You might be aware of that, but when you hear Agenda 2030, the thing is just the taking away of your financial assets.
Mm-hmm.
It goes deeper than that. It goes into the destruction of the nuclear family, and where the transgender movement is put in the schools, and the people in the schools are now transgender oriented. So they will deny parental rights and take over the children as a commodity for the first purpose for transgender operations, for sex trafficking and sacrifices and other kind of things. So we talk about parental rights. But this can only happen if the parents sit back and do not get together and organize and go to these schools and demand the release of their children. They have that right. Okay?
Yes.
And file lawsuits and do not keep quiet, because this is going on here. Right now in America, we have 325 missing children across the border as due to sex trafficking, slave labor. Some is dead in sacrifices. So I want to warn you about this. It's a move afoot to take over children. Remember during the gay parade, they said, we are gay and we're queer and we're coming for your children. That was not just a well saying, it's something that they have in mind. That the children is not a commodity to be used by these wicked Satanists.
Yes, sir. Well,
thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you are another one that I will call at some point. We are going to have a section in the show where the diaspora speaks. Okay, so I'm going to reach out to you. Okay.
All right. So
thank
I
you,
just want to let you know that. All right.
Yes, and thanks for your support. You've always supported.
Fight for your children. Fight for the children. Don't let that happen.
Yes.
Yes,
Amen.
thank you.
Amen.
Thank you,
Amen.
All right.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I did say, we have one more because they were calling me. Just hang on. Let me just, and the last one, Dr. Ferdinand, because I'm trying to encourage people to speak up. So
yes, it's
time.
very important. Very important.
Yes.
And it's really good to hear from our loyal.
Yes. Really good. Really good. We want to invite people to come out on Sunday at 3:00 at St. Mary's Church. So remember, we're not just talkers. We are doers. All right. So everybody needs to come out on Sunday at 3:00, St. Mary's Church, and we're walking through Chapman Lane. All right. Good night, caller. Welcome.
Praise the Lord. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, this is Pastor Sandra Spencer, God's servant, and I want to speak on the issue of I spoke on the issue of teachers last time.
Yes.
And when I saw what the Prime Minister is doing at the UN, we know what is happening to the United States right now. Okay? How it's been devastated. How United States have come against Israel, certain parts of certain states, right? It's not only because of what they're sinning and all that. Any nation that comes against Israel God will judge. Okay? God has promised that Barbados is going to be a hub for his move, right? He has promised that people will go from this island into other lands to declare the gospel. And I believe that we have got to stand up. This is the time that every true child of God have got to stand. As I said last time, I don't know really who is standing because it seems like everybody, according to Revelations 2, have left the first love. That is God.
Yes.
They have left. We have left. Barbados is no more a Christian nation. It's only the very few that is standing, that is holding disaster from this island. Even this evening, all of you, I don't know if you all saw those dark clouds. It looked like a tornado that came over this island.
Yeah, agree.
And
So
we prayed, God cleared up. You won't believe it that the blue skies came back.
yes. Well, you know
I'm
what?
calling upon God's people, those who mean God, to stand up in this hour. God is dependent on us to stand. Stop playing the fool, as Sister Marcia was saying. It's time to get up and do. Stop pushing nonsense in the silence, and then doing.
Yes.
That is the whole crux of the matter. Why things are going wrong in this island. The young people don't want to hear the preachers anymore, because when they look into the church, sin is rampant from the platform to the door. So where are the young people going?
Right, there is nowhere for them. But I thank you so much. I can hear the passion in your heart and in your spirit. And I want to say to you, I did see the clouds today, and I was at home praying.
Black.
Yes, and I will confer with you. I went into prayer right away. So
right, God called me into prayer, because at that time I was playing some music, and that song, Sweet Hour Prayer, and the anointing just rested on me. I was to go out. I called the person and said, I can't go. Got to go before the Lord.
Yes, that happened to me today as well. That happened to me today. Well, I want to thank you for calling, because it's 10:09, and I'm sure we will have a talk. I will keep your number and give you a call, ma'am. Hopefully tomorrow.
Your number is on my phone already.
Yes, so because I did feel that when I saw the clouds today. God bless you, and you have a word. Thank you for being passionate and sharing your heart. Okay, God bless you, my sister.
Amen. Beautiful.
Yes, good note to end on. It's a good note to end on. We look to God. We look to God. Well, it's 10:09. Dr. Ferdinand, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. And Rose is still here, but I didn't. Her camera is off, mic is off. But this is the time for the people, and they were calling right up until the time, And so I want to thank Rose Corbin for being again just herself, so detailed and observant. Thank you for coming on tonight. I know Miss McLean was trying, but did not get a chance to share to do a few things on meetings, etc. But I'm sure we'll see Miss McLean on Friday.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Thank you, and hopefully Caswell, depending on how he's feeling.
Yes.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining, and may we not just say it was a good show, but may we do something about what we heard. And that's the stage I'm at this stage, Dr. Ferdinand. One of the things that you can do, it's this weekend. Come out to the Solemn Walk. Come out. Stop. Just, you're home. You can get the family, have lunch early. Come down, 3:00. Let's walk through the community, as Dr. Ferdinand was saying. Look, and you see where people live. You see how they're living. Hug somebody, shake their hand, and let's connect. We are one people here in Barbados. We're one.
Amen.
Let's
Amen.
bring that Dayton spirit to Chapman Lane. Give them a warm meal. Bring some toys and gifts to the children. Bring some non-perishable food items. We're wearing white. Okay. Everybody come on out on Sunday, and then Saturday, we're going to St. Lucie with the water. All right.
Yes.
God bless you all and have a good night.
God bless, guys.
Promise us a better tomorrow. Tell me that it's suffering done. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. She did only want little dealing, big contracts and not corruption. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. Barbados is too small for me. My pocket full, now you and job they promise me. And a girl like me want power and more money. You cry transparency, but that's a no for me. Promise us a better tomorrow. Tell me that it's suffering done. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down. She did only want little dealing, big contracts and not corruption. Me attack the vote and let me down. Me attack the vote and let me down.
All right, folks. Good night. Good night. And we will see you again on Friday. God bless. Bye-bye.